Champion Lewis Hamilton started the defence of the title with victory in season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix. The Mercedes driver held off pressure from Red Bull's Max Verstappen in the closing laps. From Sky News, I'm Tanya Snuggs.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And now, the forerunner to Facebook, where your words tell 1,000 Instagrams. Use your phone for making that call. And get talking across the northeast, please. Because this is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Greetings, felicitations and similar noises. Alan Robson with you. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Tonight we forget about all the bad things, all the nasty things, all the horrors of life. And we aim to smile for 4 hours solid if we can. That's my target. Even though I've already heard from Eddie, who had a nightmare this week. Eddie, bless him, went for a checkup on Monday, complained about some pain on the side of his mouth. He's got an abscess, apparently, and the dentist said he's got some bad teeth. Because of the lockdowns, the dentist not treating you, hasn't seen a dentist in nearly about a year and 4 months. He needs 6 teeth out and 1 tooth drilled because of the abscess. Starts next week. Oh, Eddie, be strong. You'll get through it. Also tonight we're talking about a challenge as always. And the challenge tonight is something that sounds alarming. It's sounds that are alarming. Now, I was lucky enough, many, many years ago, there was a player for Newcastle United called Jeff Allen who had to retire early. So, to try and give more value for his testimonial night, before Jeff Allen's testimonial with loads of famous footballers, a team of athletes, famous athletes, and jockeys and stuff, took on a celebrity team that I was involved with. And I was in goal. And about 15 minutes in, I dived at the feet of one of the superstar athletes who kicked me. I managed to push the ball away, but he kicked me right on the base of the hand, snapping both bones in my arm, my ulnar and my radius. And apparently, according to Chinese television, the noise of the break could be heard all over the stadium, and they played it back, and you clearly heard the. So I was in a plastic cast for a little while. Still played the second half, but up front with a sling on, before I got me pot. So what noise, what sound is the most alarming? What sound do you never want to hear again? Somebody's already sent me an email saying that he drove over a pigeon and pigeons burst like old-fashioned plastic footballs. Boom! And then there's a puff of feathers in the air. Says he doesn't want to hear one of them again. There's a lot of noises you don't want to hear again. If you drive, occasionally a tragic bunny will try and just get under your wheels, or a pheasant. And to hear that under your car, you don't hear that. So what other noises? I know this is kind of out the box, but have a think. What noises do you really just hate listening to. There's half a dozen just in a dentist's chair. But have a think, noises that do your head in. Pick up your telephone and you can ring Nicola, who is back tonight on our switchboard. Great to see her again. She'll be looking forward to hearing from you too. Pick up your telephone, 0191 488 3188. She's waiting for you now. Also, apparently the earliest you can hope for a holiday, now I know some people have booked for June and July, the earliest to be allowed overseas looks to be, in other words, they've got no idea, August. So now you've got to go through all the rigmarole trying to get your money back. The American police handcuff a 5-year-old boy who ran away from school. He was also a bit of a gobby-lit-like and a bit of a school bully. And the police officer himself didn't hurt the lad, but said if he was my man, I'd give him a hiding. Should we give children hidings? Because let's face it, some of them are little swines. And I know they're Mammy's little angel. They can't half be swines. I was a swine for a while when I was a child too, and I got hammered for it. But now the worst you can do to them is send them off to their room with their television, their laptop, their video games. And I know some people say, oh, we take them away. No, you don't. Take them away for 20 minutes, and then when he puts a pet lip on, you give them back. And are girls ever smackable? What do you think? I mean, because let's face it, I was raised at a time of smacking. Everybody got smacked. Some of us got hammered. Does it need to come back? Some kind of proper deterrent within schools too. I'd like your views. A farmer shot my dog. I got a very long email this week. Long story short, a farmer shot his dog. He was out in the country having a walk and getting some air. The dog ran into a field where there was sheep and was chasing the sheep around. The guy said he wasn't hurting them, but some of the sheep are pregnant apparently at the moment. So the police say there's nothing they can do about it. The farmer's completely within his rights to shoot your dog. What do you think? 0191 488 3188. And have you been jucked yet? Have you had the injection? Second jabs are all going to be well within the 12-week period, we're told. Anybody had a second one yet? And how was your jucking? Few people have had to lie down kind of days and sore arms, and some people haven't taken to it well. More usually the people that don't take a lot of drugs, I think. Tell me your stories if you wish. And a guy called Paulie, it's definitely a man, judging by some of the things he says about women in his email, especially women in the 60s and 70s. He says, when was the best time to grow up musically? And I'd like your view on that. I think most people... Oh, Christine Kelly's just said, noise that she hates, forks scraping your plate. Oh, I know that. Michelle agrees, and she says it's just like nails down a chalkboard. Oh, yeah. But what other noises of... Anthony Tuck says people talking in their sleep. Yeah, unless they're going, Alan. I suppose that would be all right. Sandy Robson. Oh, you must be a relative. The grinding of teeth. Oh, that's nasty. My snoring has to fit into that category too. Emma Louise, one of my kids tipping the toy box out just when I've cleaned up. Oh, yeah. Lisa, people eating, have to tell my kids to move away from me. They eat with manners too. So if anyone with no manners, oh God, no, she says. Sloppy eaters, Dominic as well. One of my family, one of my aunts, used to do the slurpy soup thing, and it would be dripping down her chin. I know she was a canny age, but even so. So what noises do it for you? We've already... Dean Charlton says Beyonce. Really? I think there's worse noises than Beyonce. Anything to do with Jedward, in my opinion. But anyway, what else? Lots to talk about. When is the best time to grow up musically? I always thought it was whenever you grew up. You know, people say, oh, that was the best time. What do you reckon? I think there was more variety in the 60s and 70s, like Paulie suggests. Also, daft speeder stories. The police told this week of catching a speeder who was doing 163 miles an hour. What's your daft speeders story? Or were you speeding and something happened? Did you see something happen to a speeder? I want those kind of stories, please. Robert Austin says, dirt being put onto my coffin. That isn't a good sound. The fact that he's heard it at all makes him a vampire at least. And Graham says, eating an apple loud. I don't mind that at all. Selena Gomez, did you hear what she said this week? Selena, who we've had in the show a few times, she said she wants to retire and she's 28. Now, that means if you haven't retired and you're over 28, in her eyes, you're a bit of a failure, really. What? I'm going to be working till I'm 108. Better get used to it. And also, foreign holidays this year at all is a gamble at best. And the government have set a £5,000 fine for anybody who travels overseas without permission, which is just stamping on people's freedom and one of their basic human rights. But we will ignore it. What do you reckon? DJ Banger said he got juked this week. No ill effects yet. Felt a bit tired. It's carrying all that extra weight of juk. Also, can serial cheats ever change? Because Boris is in the newspapers again with that exotic dancer telling her story about how he cheated on his partners and what have you. Texas. This is interesting. In Texas, in the States, they've got 100% return to normality. No masks, nothing. And their COVID figures are still dropping. Everybody expected them to go crazy. They haven't. A boat blocking the Suez Canal. Have you ever blocked somebody in and caused ructions? Blocked somebody's drive? Blocked anything? Blocked your toilet? I want blocking stories as well tonight. Pub passports. Oi. Imagine a government telling you where you can eat and what you can drink. That's where we're at. Just got to realise where we are. New York want to legalise cannabis, and that could rebound around the world. Imagine what it'll be like to be able to get hold of cannabis in New York like you can't already on every street corner. And I know my daughter has not kept up with her schoolwork. I think she's at least a year behind. She really hasn't worked when she's been at home. Now what? Well, now what? Have you kept an eye on your children's work at home? Or have you just let them busk you? I think most parents have. Dominic's just been on. Dominic Montefiore says, my gran got caught for speeding on a mobility scooter when she was going down a ramp in a shopping centre. One of the security guards rugby tackled her off, but fair play, she is a menace on it. There you go. I always think you should have reversing noises for those things. And little at least. And I just want to pay respect to, not just because I jog, or jig as I call it, because I'm jigging afterwards, but respect to runners. There's a few people that go past me like a rocket, and some of them are much, much heavier and much, much older. So absolute respect to these people. Lynn says the noise she hates is feedback from microphones, that awful screeching sound. I heard it a lot in lockdown as the kids walked into the same room while on a Zoom class. Hang on, I'll just give you a little... That's what she means. That's from my lug. Darren hates the noise of people cracking their knuckles, makes him cringe. So we got a lot to talk about. Pick up your telephone. Let's get cracking now. The sooner you ring, the quicker we'll get you on. And let's have a laugh and a smile and a joke and a kind of long-distance hug to your ears, because this is Night Owls. Alan Robson with you on Greatest Hits Radio North East. Let's do it.
Call Alan Robson's Night Owls now.
0191 488 3188.
This is real life conversation with the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Now, we've had a whole batch of things that people were hearing, or just comments about things we talked about so far in our beginning little medley thing. Clever Calvert says, free the weed. The weed has never been free. Don't think even if it's legalised, it'll be free. You'll find it sold in chemists, but it'll be for profit. Somebody will be making up for it. I always think that marijuana is such a so what. People go mad about it. Oh, it's really cool. Just because it's illegal. It's a plant. It chills you out. Fine, so does a cup of tea. So does a cup of coffee. So does taurine. Well, taurine actually winds you up a bit. We're talking energy drinks usually. Anyway, let's crack on. Neil says, I thought it was legal in New York. When you go there, you smell it a lot over there, and you do. Alan says he hates telephones going off in cinemas. Oh, that's even worse when they go, hello? Oh. Christine hates polystyrene, sets her teeth on edge. I suppose it's that noise when you rub your fingers over polystyrene. I don't get it, but I suppose you have to be Christine for that. And another Christine hates chewing on her woolly jumper. I hope that's not a euphemism. Cheryl says, I hate the sound of my little girl drinking out of her sippy cup in the middle of the night, because, you know, if a little girl drinks out of a sippy cup in the night, 2 hours later she needs to get up and go to the toilet and she's going to wake the whole house. And also, Chris says he hates the noise of his dog licking his bum at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, they do seem to make a bit of a meal of it, but in my opinion, it's probably the dog. You remember, I finish at 2 o'clock, so he's possibly getting the taste of me out of his mouth. Anyway, 0191 488 3188. Let's crack on and talk to Benjamin, who is in Wallsend. Hi, Benjamin.
Hello there, Alan, you all right?
Yes, I'm good, mate. What can we do for you?
Just on the conversation you were having, like noise you never want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
About 2 years ago, I heard a sound out of my car that I never want to hear again.
Which was?
I used to live in Stanley, and I was heading down towards the A1, but obviously Stanley's in the hills.
Absolutely.
And the end of the A1's quite low down near like Sunderland.
Sure, yeah.
I was going down the last part of the hill, pressed my brake pedal, and heard an almighty grinding, screeching noise.
Oh, blimey.
And the pedal went straight to the floor.
Oh, whoa. What happened?
Luckily, I was able to, quick thinking, change down through the gears and slow the car down that way.
Clever.
Ended up pulling into a housing estate, and it turns out that the rear calipers just basically completely failed and fell apart.
Oh, well, because everybody always thinks they know what they would do if their brakes failed. And I always thought, well, it's obvious. You just turn into something that's uphill, you know. So if you're going downhill and there's like a housing estate that's got a driveway down there, but then you think, but what if you're doing like 60, 70 miles an hour?
Well, I mean, it was a national speed limit road, so I was doing like 50 when I pressed the brakes, and all I could see in the distance was the back end of an Arctic wagon getting closer and closer to us.
So talk me through it. Okay, you go down from, probably you're in 4 or 5, I'm guessing. You go down to 3, then you go down to 2, then you go down to 1. Did that slow it down massively then, did it?
It surprisingly did. I mean, obviously,
good to know.
When you're driving, you change down, it slows you down, but you don't be on your brake.
Yeah.
But if you take it like right the way up the rev range where the car's pretty much just screaming at you, you'll slow it down very quickly. Right,
so you slow down, but you can't stop.
No, because the handbrake and the brakes don't work.
Right, so you're heading towards the Arctic's backside slightly more slowly. How do you get the car to a stop, or did you end up actually having to drive into something?
No, I was lucky where the traffic lights actually changed and the lorry pulled away, thank God.
So what? So you just kept driving, and then how did you stop?
I basically turned into a little housing estate, sitting in first gear, just barely moving, and then just switched the engine off. If it's still in gear, the engine just stopped the car.
But I presume when you stopped, if you'd been on a rise, say, and you put your handbrake on, you just rolled back then, would you?
I just left it in gear. I mean, the caliper for the back end of the car had completely fallen apart and just spewed all the brake fluid everywhere.
That's super lucky, mind. And also to have the presence of mind, though, to say, oh, I'll merely go down the... That's quick thinking. Because had that have been me, I'd have been going loudly swearing. I'm not going to put the swearies in, but it would be, oh no, oh no, oh no, no, no. Because the couple of instances that I've had of nastiness, usually on ice, spinning a car, and you might as well just put your hands off the steering wheel because it doesn't make any difference at all.
You're just a passenger.
Absolutely. But you just scream and hope, don't let me hit the central reservation, no! But it doesn't work. That whole thing doesn't work. What you did, I thought, was genius. Well done, you.
Well, I was trying to keep quiet for the sake of my girlfriend who's in the passenger seat, so she didn't panic. But inside, I was screaming as well, trust me.
No, I bet. But no, that's hey, because of what you've just said, heaven forbid it should ever happen to anybody that's listening. They're all going to think, well, hang on, I might have an answer to this, because that's really, really super clever. But the noise you got, because I would have expected maybe squealing, like your pads or whatever had reached, the pads had gone or whatever.
It was literally, the brake caliper was just squeezing on the disc, so it was just metal on metal grinding. So
presumably, if somebody had seen that from outside, you were probably sparking it at the back of the car, I'm guessing.
Oh, probably, but I'm just glad that I managed to get through it without hitting anything.
Superhero. Honestly, top job. Top job, Said. Great story. Anything else while you're on, Ben?
Just what you were saying before as well about discipline with children as well.
Yeah.
I think children are out of control these days. I mean, I grew up in a time where it wasn't unheard of to get a clip on the back of the head when you were naughty or, got sent to bed.
Right, yeah.
But you can't do that anymore.
Did you consider that was cruel or wrong, or do you think it worked? Which side are you on with this?
I mean, I think it works personally because, I've turned out all right. I've never been in bother with the police or anything. I've always been well-mannered.
Right.
I never, did anything wrong when I was a child, but if I obviously stepped out of line, I'd get a clip on the back of the head and told her, shut up or... And
would that be your mum or would that be your dad?
Either or.
All right. Yeah, I had good cop, bad cop in my house. My mum was the good cop. Just say, hey, I wouldn't do that again because if your dad ever finds out, and then if I did it again, your dad will find out because she'll tell him, poof, then you'd get a wallop from him. But at least it was consistent in your house, fair dues.
I mean, my mum and dad split up when I was very young, but still obviously going to stay at my dad's and staying at my mum's half the week there, half the way there. Gotcha. Obviously, each parent's got their own parenting styles, but both of them were very similar. And as far as I see, it didn't do me any harm.
Right. But it's just, at school, I got the belt, like the leather belt, because I was there after people had been caned years earlier. But that's what they used to do, and they used to birch them even before that, which was even worse. But do you think that schools should bring some of this back? Because, as you say, if people don't want to go to school, I mean, like that case in America, a 5-year-old just says, well, stuff it, I'm just gonna run away from school and stay away every day, not go back. And they're 5. I don't think it's up to the schools. I think it's more up to the parents to discipline their children. At the end of the day, the school's there for an education, not to control your child. Right, that's true, but they've still got them 5-6 hours a day, haven't they? That's the thing. So what do they do? Because when I was at school, the worst you could ever get would be a strap, a strap across the hand, or a wooden ruler, a plastic ruler across the knuckles, which knacked. But that's the worst you'd get. And then it went to, well, the worst you'll get is an hour's detention or 2 hours detention, and then kids didn't go to the detention and be a letter home, or then send them home. Well, sending a kid who doesn't want to be at school home is exactly what they want. You're going to be working your ticket every day under that kind of regimen. I just don't know what the answer is for schools. I don't envy them the job they do, man, I have to say. Oh, definitely not. Scary. But, I mean, as far as that, what I think the school should be able to have a child for 5-6 hours a day and not have to worry about the child, mouthing off or being naughty. As far as I can see, it never did me any harm, a clip on the back of the head. And a lot of my friends are all the same as well, and they've turned out just like I have, where we don't get in bother, we don't mess about. Right. I mean, my life at the moment with obviously COVID, with lockdown, is I go home, I clean up.
take the dog out for a walk, and then I might go back to work later on because I sometimes do split shifts. But
right.
There's loads of kids I see now where they don't have any discipline and they'll turn to a life of crime afterwards as well, with drug dealing or stealing.
And I don't know about you, but there's some kids that you see on the streets and no good shall come of this kid. This kid's going to grow up to be a boil on the backside of all of us. And you can look at them and I know you don't want to be judgmental, but when this lad is just an utter waste of skin, you think, why? What use is he going to be to anybody? He's just going to be a burden his whole life. And you want to just shake him and say, do you not realise how good things could be if you actually put a bit of effort in here and there? But seems to be no telling them. And education just went straight past them as far as I could tell. Strange.
I mean, that's just the way life is at the moment. I mean, when I left school, I went straight into college. Not a single day I had off. I was out of school, into college. Finished college course, went into an apprenticeship, and then finished my apprenticeship to get into the big wide world. But
brilliant. And because you got an apprenticeship, that stays with you your life. Then nobody can take that away from you. Mind you, split shifts are a pain.
Yeah, it's not the best, but it's normally just a case of I go home for my lunch and then I'm back for another 3 or 4 hours, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, and if you think of the alternative, which is where an awful lot of people are after furlough, their companies just don't need them back anymore. We're going to shed an awful lot of workers with this whole thing, but stick in and hey, congratulations. But top story about the car. Thanks for coming on, Benjamin.
Thanks very much.
Thanks,
Have a good night.
I will, bless you. There you go, Benjamin from Wallsend. Would you have thought of that? Going down, I think it'll merely go down the gears. That'll slow it up. Brilliant. Jamie Cole says the noise he hates is Gemma Collins' voice. Can I make that? Never want to see her on television again as well. No, I get it. I don't understand the celebrity of some of these people. Anyway, let's tootle. I'm going to tootle now to Spennymoor. We've got Glenn there. Hi, Glenn.
Hi, Alex. Right.
Hello, mate. Yes, good. Good to hear from you. What can we do for you, mate?
Right. The last 2 weeks I've heard you ghost hunt on a Thursday.
All right,
But the best one was Thursday gone. That was unbelievable.
Great. I'm glad you liked it.
Especially when you talked to Hannah.
Absolutely. Wow.
It come through and you went, Hannah, are you there? What?
Yeah, it was like she was telling me off for just.
Honestly. I mean, it was as though they were all arguing.
Yeah.
Because when he says, who killed it? He went, dead.
Right.
Honestly, it was just loud and clear. I mean, my partner, she couldn't believe it. And I called her Hannah.
Oh, blimey. Right. And I just hope at night time, when you're trying to get passionate, she doesn't shout, dead. I hope that doesn't happen to you either.
Got these There's actually once beside us. And I said, we'll go for a walk in the woods. And she went, no way.
Right. No, I'm glad you enjoyed it, though. Good on you, man. Thanks for taking part.
I just couldn't believe it. I thought, what the hell? And we actually saw the images, the black and all that. And then when you're down by the railway lines, and the skull was there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It was a lot more than we expected, and some of it we weren't that aware of, like the figure that was caught moving across, because you can see arms and legs and stuff of this blackness move across. We were aware that something had happened, but it's actually when you come to look back at it, and somebody actually clipped a bit and sent it to us and said, were you aware of this? And yes, we were, but not in as great detail, because when you're just chunking around the countryside, you don't necessarily take everything in.
My God. Well, that's it off. They must be scared. There's a two of them there, 2 or 3. I haven't got a clue. But honestly, I did not expect that when you were. Well,
hey, spread the word. We're trying to build it up. So happy days. Let's make.
I did share it. But
good man, thank you.
I'll be listening every Thursday now, right?
Good man. Hey, keep to it. And thanks very much. Anything else we can do for you then, Glenn?
No, that's spot on. That's spot on.
Top job. Thanks again, man.
Hope to see you on Thursday.
I look forward to you being there. Thanks a lot. There you go. That's good. Yeah, we're doing ghosty have-nabs, and we're building towards doing other things as well. The more that you guys want to take part. Simple as. Talking about noises again, Neil's been on. He says, talking about horrid noises, do you remember the movie Jaws? I do. When Robert Shaw scrapes his nails down the blackboard on the meeting room to get people's attention. Horrendous. That's Neil from South Shields, and it was horrendous, but it worked, in fairness. And also, Mark is back with loving the show, thank you. He's keeping healthy, still on his diet, but he's itching for a Parmo. I tell you, you've got to look at... Thing is, if you exercise, it's pointless exercising if you're going to overdose on food. And I don't even know what the answer is to that, because I yearn for food. Yearn for it. Also, this is sad. David in colour coats. It's only fair that I read out these ones too. He says, I'm sorry, but it's on a serious note, Alan. The sound I never want to hear again is the sound my mother made when she rang us on the 22nd of January, 1982, to say that my 22-year-old brother had died following a seizure in hospital. I was 9 years old, and I knew when I heard my mum that our lives would be changing completely. David in Colcoats, I'm so sorry for that. I know it was a long time ago, but it's obviously still raw with you. And also, blocking things. And we haven't had a blocked toilet yet, but I bet one comes up. It says, oi, oi, Savaloy. Yes, it's Easter. He says, don't you just hate them drivers who block the dual carriageway 500 metres before you're supposed to filter in, so there's a queue about 10 miles long? Do as the sign says. Use both lanes, then filter in. It's much quicker and safer. Male appendage heads, he calls them. There you go. Which is a long phrase if you think about it. Let's go to Catherine, who is in Birmingham. Hello, Catherine.
Oh, hello.
Hello, darling. What can we do for you tonight?
Well, nothing. It's just I was talking to my friend who's up in the northeast because I'm from Durham.
All right.
And I moved away in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we were just talking about night owls and that type of thing. And yeah, and then I found you on Facebook, and it just made me feel happy. So I'm going to call up and say hello.
Oh, well, hello. So how long have you been down there now? That's a long time.
Since 1993.
Wow, that's a
long time.
Absolutely. To be away from the glory that is the north, that's a...
You know something, completely.
Oh, my goodness. So have they treated you well down there, those brummies?
They have.
Good.
It's not like being at home. But when I was up home, when I was younger, I loved night owls.
Oh, good, thank you. Thanks for being there for us.
And honestly, it was a massive reassurance for me when things were hard.
Right.
So thank you, Alan.
No way, bless you. Thank you very much for finding me and it being a nice thing. Cause,
and me and my sister, we did the Great North Run in 2019.
Right.
Because last year didn't happen. And you were there, weren't you?
There
you
every
set
year.
us off.
Absolutely, no, for sure. So that's great. How did you get on? Did you manage all right?
Somehow, yeah. Somehow.
Yeah, sometimes it's a mystery to people how they eventually get round. But no, that's great. So have you been coping down?
Thank you. And now I know that you're here, I'll be joining you on Facebook.
Oh, well, that's good.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Well, we do ghosty stuff on a Thursday night as well. So if you fancy checking that out as well, we'll... hopefully that'll work, and you'll get a kick out of that too. With respect to Birmingham, how's it been during the lockdown? I mean, has everybody been obeying, or has they been doing what they like?
No, they're not. No. So I'm a nurse, so I've been working all the way through,
right? And
I think it's quite hard because people aren't following the rules. They're not.
Right. And that just makes people want to... Because I heard that there was like a gush of extra cases in Birmingham when everybody else was just starting to lower the thing.
Because all of a sudden, yeah, massively, because I remember talking to your mum at the beginning, the North East was like doing really well.
No, absolutely. But and it's just we hear other parts of the country say, they say, oh, and there's an outbreak here, and it could be another, it could kick it all off again.
There's so many people people who don't even believe it's a thing, which is so frustrating because obviously it's a bloody thing.
I was going to say, you can't deny it's been a damn thing, hasn't it? It's certainly been a thing. But bottom line is that you hadn't booked a holiday or anything, had you? Because people are now saying it's.
Nobody should book a holiday. Well, I don't understand why you put yourself in a position to be let down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's.
I think we should stay home, wash our hands.
Yeah. Mind you, it has been a pain in the tail, hasn't it? Just watching four walls and stuff and going.
I know. But,
but
then if that's all we've got, then that's what we need to do.
Yeah. Can't argue with that at all. Can't argue with that. So what are you doing? What are you doing for a living then?
My nose.
Oh my goodness, front end, blimey, front end girl. So has everybody been kindly towards you, or have you been completely overwhelmed?
No, to be fair, it's been hard because I've been redeployed quite a few times.
Yeah.
It's really tricky because everyone's been lovely, but I know it's difficult. But
no, well, I don't want to put you on a spot over it. Just thank you very much for everything that you've done to try and look after us, because you're diamonds, a lot of you.
That's it. I think it's not just doctor, nurse, and NHS. I just think people who work in the shops, the postmen,
absolutely,
everyone else.
Because all of the people like you and all of the shopkeepers, again, the ones that like supermarkets, they've had to work right the way through the whole thing.
Completely.
None of them putting their feet up, for 7 months waiting for something to happen. It's been
we're all in it together.
No, for sure. Hey, well, lovely to hear from you, Catherine. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alan.
Bless you, darling. Love to you.
Bye.
Oh, how nice. There you go. She's found us again. What a lovely thing. Anyway, talking noises, we're going to Lincolnshire, where they get some of the finest taties in the world. Hello, Kirsty.
Hello.
Hello, love. What can we do for you tonight? What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, I've got this really strange problem.
Ooh,
if I'm having a lolly, I can have it, but as soon as I get that wooden bit near my teeth, it makes me retch.
Oh, no. So,
yeah.
So how'd you and I bet you love lollies as well, because that's nearly always the case. Otherwise, you wouldn't even pick one up, but you like a lolly. How do you get round it then?
Well, I eat the lolly, and then I don't put my teeth on it. I obviously put my lips on it, but
right.
chuck the bit of wood away.
But the last bit, on a lolly, you always get a last bit. And usually what people do who don't mind the wood, you put your teeth on the wood top and bottom, and you go...
No. Yeah. No, I don't do that. No, I leave the rest of whatever's left on that piece of wood goes in the bin.
So what about, if you have like a little tub of ice cream, quite often you get like a little wooden thing with that, no?
No, I can't do the wooden spoon, no.
So has to be a cornet. Has to be a cornet or nothing for you then?
Yeah. Either a cornet or a metal spoon.
I'm just wondering. I'm just thinking, what other wood would you put in for people listening at home? Don't be rude. What other kind of wood could you put? And I'm thinking skewers, chicken skewers, or kebabs, or
nothing at all. No.
Right.
Never.
Do you know what caused it though? Do you know what made you have like this aversion to wood?
I don't know. I've no idea, to be honest. But just the fact of having that wood and stick in between my teeth is just no.
Because I'm just thinking sometimes dentists have like a little wooden thing that they go on you. No.
Well, maybe when you go to the doctors and you've got like to open your mouth and
sore throats or so. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't know, but no.
No, not for you. Absolutely. Anything else right here on then, darling?
No, nothing else.
Good stuff. Hey, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan.
Thanks, love. Bye-bye. And that must be a nightmare, because we all love a lolly. I just had a thought. I can solve a problem. Calippos. Done. Calippo or a jubbly. The old-fashioned triangular things? Problem was, jubblies were usually one corner full of orange flavour, and the rest of it just a block of ice. Went off jubblies quick. Anyway, let's have a superstar coming out at night, because we are Greatest Hits Radio North East. Alan Robson's Night Owls, of course. And thanks to everybody for your kindness across the stream. Great to have Lincolnshire on board. Birmingham, blimey, we're all over. We're like white dog poo. We're everywhere. Well, that certainly used to be the case. Bachman Turner Overdrive. You ain't heard nothing yet. Like Al Jolson once said in The Jazz Singer, I was talking to Bachman Turner Overdrive about... We'll have a listen.
This is Randy.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the ghost, but this is a great story. In San Francisco, where else?
Yeah.
Walking down a street in Haight-Ashbury, just looking around, because my wife's from there, so she was taking me around Haight-Ashbury and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I see this old church. It's painted purple.
Why?
I go up, and over the door it says Church of the Purple Haze of Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
And I go, what? Only in San Francisco could this happen.
Yeah.
It says, this is on a Saturday. Tomorrow is the meeting at noon. Show up, bring a lunch, like a pot lunch that they share after the meeting.
Right.
The hymns for tomorrow will be The Wind Cries Mary, Purple Haze. And I had to fly home. I couldn't go there. But it was open, and I went in, and I felt this strange ghost presence of Jimi Hendrix. Like, yeah, man, this is a cool place. You ought to come back tomorrow, but I had to fly out of town. And I have a picture of this, the Church of the Purple Haze of Jimi Hendrix. And the vibe in there was cool because it had all feathers and a hat like his Zorro hat, that black hat.
Yeah.
And the silver conches that he wore. And it had a Stratocaster guitar at the front where the pulpit was.
Oh.
I guess the guy probably went up and told stories of Jimi Hendrix. I don't know.
What a fantastic idea. Isn't that
a great
wild?
story.
It is.
That's a great story.
More than 30 million people have now received their first dose of a coronavirus vaccine in the UK. Government figures suggest 57% of all adults have had their initial jab, while 6% have had both. It's been confirmed lorry drivers arriving in England from outside the UK and Ireland will have to take coronavirus tests from next month. Up to now, hauliers have been exempt from most rules on international travel. A 19-year-old girl's in a critical condition after a car being chased by police crashed into a lamppost in South London. The Metropolitan Police says officers pursued a vehicle after it failed to stop near Streatham Common early this morning. Sport. England beat Albania 2-0 in a scrappy World Cup qualifier. Mason Mount scored one of the goals and says he was impressed with how the team adjusted to the challenge they faced.
The pitch wasn't the best. It was a bit long, so it made it difficult for us to kind of play and do our usual combinations around the final third. We adapted in the game, our shape a little bit. That's something we keep learning. We're learning to change in the game and change formations to help us create more chances, and we did that.
Scotland came from behind to draw 1-1 away to Israel, while Northern Ireland lost 2-1 to the USA in a friendly. And England's cricketers have slipped to a 7-run defeat to India in the final one-day international. It means England lose the series 2-1. From Sky News, I'm Tanya Snuggs.
Thanks, Tanya. And Alan Robson with you. If you just wonder what you've stumbled into, it's the Night Owls across Greatest Hits Radio North East. Thank you very much for being there. Spread the word of the owl, as always, if you would be so kind. A couple of things that have just come in. Michelle says, hello from Dubai. Now, as you know, we did some shows from over there. And the Ras Al Khaimah, we were next door to Dubai, the next emirate along. And Michelle, it's got to be something like 3 o'clock in the morning there, 4 o'clock. What are you doing up? What's the crack? What's happened? Are you a night watchman for somebody? But it's real late. I think we started at something like 3 in the morning and we didn't finish our shows over there till stupid o'clock. And then they usually had me booked in for something at 9 o'clock, so you get like an hour's sleep for the whole week we were there. It was testing. The body clock went all to hell. And Paddy's been on and says, noises you don't want to hear, your mum and dad doing it. Oh, I could not agree more. One of the nightmares I had as a kid, my dad had a telly in his bedroom, and I didn't as a kid. I was about 9, 10, 11, somewhere around there. And it was a Saturday night. My dad had gone to bed with me mum, supposedly to watch the football, to watch Match of the Day, because it was on even in those dark days. Leather footballs back then. But anyway, he was watching Match of the Day. So what I used to do was, I'd wait till they got immersed in it, And then I would crawl in, and I would crawl under the bed and just watch the telly. And then when it was over, wait till he'd got up, switched the set off because there was no remote controls back then. And then when he was preparing to get to sleep, I'd commando crawl back out. Well, there was one Saturday that they started getting frisky and the bed started moving, and I knew if I'd got caught under there, death would be a blessing. So I tried to get out just in time. They never knew, they never found out, but that was just hellish. And I could hear the noises and just all the noises that bodies. Anyway, let's. So I absolutely agree, Pad. And Michelle says, I'm a night owl and I'm off work for 2 weeks. That's our Dubai lady. Thank you. And David is in almost an exotic place, Hetton Della Hole. There you go. Ah, but he's got a hole. Dubai hasn't got a hole. Okay, we've got Vicky, who's in Washington. Hi, Vicky.
Hello, Alan.
Hello,
it's
love.
Not very exotic here in Washington, by the way. Not at all.
You do what you can where you are. That's the thing.
Exactly.
What can we do for you, love?
Oh, a couple of things. Noises.
Okay. Yeah.
People eating pork scratchings. It sounds like they're breaking their teeth.
Absolutely. And you're expecting when they smile to have their front teeth in half, aren't you?
So my other half has to pick like the most crucial point in Coronation Street where he opens the pork scratchings and sits and crunches them, and I sit and look at him and I think, are you kidding?
Yeah, but you got to remember that first of all, he probably doesn't want to watch it. So he says, I shall make you pay for this.
Probably.
Yeah.
But every little bite sounds like he's breaking every single tooth. Oh, my God.
This is the reason, not pork scratchings, but if you've ever been in the pictures, because when I was younger, when you went to can you remember cinemas? Do you remember them?
Oh, yes.
We used to go to the pictures, and it's been so long now, we pretty much forgotten, got out the habit. But when you used to go years and years ago, you didn't have like a machine with a ton of popcorn that'll fill a bucket for you.
No.
You used to buy butter-kissed, it was called, butter-kissed popcorn. And it had that kind of paper that it doesn't matter what.
Yeah.
If there was a war scene on the film, you still wouldn't hear the war scene. All you'd hear is...
that was it.
God, dear, nightmare. So the eating thing is...
Also, one of the callers there was saying about your parents.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the deed.
Oh.
So we had a touring caravan, then we upgraded to a static caravan.
Wow, right.
So this was back in the early 90s, so it wasn't as expensive then as it is now.
Right.
And when the caravan started rocking, one of the kitchen doors started tapping, and you'd sit there and you'd be like, are you serious? For goodness sake, man. Is it in your 50s? Are we? God. Oh, I still can't look at them the same way. No. Dear me.
I had you know that, and I bet the breakfast the next morning was really quiet, and everybody wanted to mention it, but nobody's saying anything because I
would get up and go to my friend's caravan for breakfast. I'm bad with it. No, I was a teenager going through the awkward stage. I was like, I don't even want to look at you for the next week.
No, I made a mistake years ago. I've mentioned this on the show once before. I was staying at my sister's house, and she'd married this German lad, and she was very, very pregnant with one of my nieces, and she was quite a large girl anyway, but to be very heavily pregnant, sometimes women can have a belly and it's barely noticeable. This one was right out there.
Yeah.
And this was a whopper. And in the middle of the night, I needed to go to the loo, and the toilet was downstairs next to the kitchen. They didn't have like an upstairs netty at all. So I didn't have any choice. I
don't know what I'm visualising here.
No, I'll put an image in your head that you're really not going to forget. But so I came downstairs. Halfway down the stairs, you can see into the living room, and you can see the fire. And the fire was on, and it was like an open fire, crackling. But there was no lights on other than the fire. But right in front of the fire, something was happening, and I
crikey.
just got up and I thought, what is it? And you kind of rub your eyes because you can't really believe what you're seeing.
It's not how you want to see your sister, is it?
No, she's 12 years older than me as well, and she was at it with her man, and she was about 8 months pregnant, and I thought, well, I could try and sneak into the toilet, but they're gonna hear the door, so I best pretend I just haven't seen them. So I said, "Excuse me," which is the wrong thing to say. And
if you've got to go, you've got to go. Though I suppose.
Without a word of a lie, she bounced him around the corner of the house so she could be behind a settee, like she was some kind of insane space hopper.
Oh my God.
And then the same thing happened in the morning with you guys. I'm just sitting there, just eating some cereal and not wanting to look and not wanting to say anything, and it went on for about 9 hours that day until things just generally... Nobody said a word about it. Let's just get past it as best we can. Oh, no, you don't want to... No,
dear me.
No. Wouldn't want a photograph of that. No, thanks.
Life, honestly, is so funny.
Oof, jeepers. Anything else then, Vic?
Well, just to say, Thursday night's Ghost Walk was fantastic. It was probably the best I've seen ever.
Oh, brilliant. Wow.
I've listened to yours for a good few years. Not for the last couple of years, because we haven't had a radio in the bedroom.
Right.
But I went on and I watched the Bowes Railway.
All right, yes. Uh-huh.
Fab. That was brilliant. But that one I watched on Thursday was just amazing.
Yeah,
the haze stood on end when you seen that just like a little pair of legs just running across the street.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Great.
I'm dead excited for this Thursday, and I also watched your little walk you did around Newcastle, and the history was fascinating. It was brilliant.
We'll keep on trying. Thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate
lovely
it.
to speak to you as well.
Thanks, Alan. Take care.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And Shane, nice. There you go. And Vicky in Weshy, and she's with us again, which is good news. 01914 488 3188. We got Sean, who's halfway up a mountain in concert. Hi, Sean.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm good. Good to hear from you.
The noises.
Oh,
Cats
yeah.
making love.
Right.
Have you heard them squeal on when they're doing that bit?
Well, in fairness, they sound like they're into it, don't they, Sean? Let's face it. I don't think any creature ever sounds... I know that we do. We mustn't sound good at what we do. But I once saw David Attenborough do one of these TV shows, and they were all about sex. Attenborough's, Life on Earth and what have you. And he was in the Galapagos Islands, never forget it as long as I live, and it was one of those gigantic tortoises. And he was mounted on the back of this lady tortoise, and his neck was out on a stalk like his eyes, and he was making the same noises that I make. It was embarrassing. I'm sitting there thinking, blimey, if I was here with any woman that I'd dallied with, she'd turn around and say, have they pinched the soundtrack from your bedroom? Scary. It's not a trap, but cats are whingy, whiny, screamy things, aren't they?
Aye. They're a bit of a noisy buggers thing.
Yeah, so where do you go to hear cats having sex then?
Oh, you just hear them outside, hear them on the squeal on. I don't know if the cats are not mine.
Yeah, I'll tell. See what you say. Mind you, foxes apparently they make a horrific make-lovey kind of noise. They sound like people being attacked in the woods. Literally, foxes. Funny. I think what we'll try and do is we'll try and can you see if you can get a fox making love sound, Tony, and we'll share it with the world. And every fox listening will go, didn't know it was that type of show.
Get the cat one better. A bit of cat one will be better, man.
Cats as well, Tony. Let's see how much we can. Don't know what kind of website he's going to have to go on to find that, but there you go. Good luck.
Are you looking forward to the barbecues tomorrow? They'll be all burnt bangers tomorrow, won't they?
Well, we can have meetings with up to 6 people. Apparently,
oh my God!
You see, what I don't understand is we've been in shops and supermarkets with like 1,000 people.
1,000 people
every day. So will it make that much difference? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Small steps, though. Fair enough.
But never mind.
And you're saying all the barbecues.
Are you still just on a night time, like on a Sunday night? Like, is that all you're on? Like,
Sunday, and then we're on Facebook and YouTube doing ghost hunts on Thursday nights.
Oh, right. What were you on about, the barbecues?
No, just the barbecue thing. You're talking about, there'll be all those barbecues. Have you seen our weather? You know,
I know.
It was snowing.
That's what I'm about, burnt bangers, man.
Yeah, it was because it was snowing a few days ago. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, hang on. Hey, you're in for a treat. Bear with me a second. I'm pressing buttons here. Bear with me a second. I have got, hopefully, I'm just loading it up now. Have a listen to this, if you can.
Hope it doesn't sound like me after 10 pints.
I hope not too, but hang on. I'm opening the button and I'm not getting any sound at all, too. Oh, hang on. Here we go. It's got to be better than that. Oh, there you go.
What's that, a fox?
Yeah. It's a yearning fox who wants to try and get the girl in the mood. Yeah, can you believe it?
I think he's sucking on it. I think he's sucking on a glass of your mint, isn't he?
I could say something there, but we best leave that one and walk away. Right. No, but it's just fascinating because you can't believe that it's an animal making a sound that's like so like a human being. It's weird.
I know. They're amazing, man.
Anything else then, Sean?
Just put us in your hat for anything, mate, will you?
All right, will do. Thank you very much, man. There you go. Sean in concert. The only way you get stuff on this. Oh, it's a good reminder because, to be honest, I haven't given you a clue yet. We do a thing called the Greatest Hit Link. It's 4 clues, and there's something that link all of the answers together. You got to work out what the link is. Okay? The first clue is this. This artist had greatest hits with 1999, Little Red Corvette, and Purple Rain, and an awful lot more. This artist had greatest hits with 1999, Little Red Corvette, and Purple Rain. Write down that, because that is your first clue. We're going to have another star for you right now. And Elvis Costello, superstar, talking about his beginnings.
Was the media thing a bit of a mind trip?
At first, I did about 5 interviews, and then I didn't do any interviews for 5 years. I didn't like it, and therefore, really, in some ways, it had 2 effects. One, it made me, for that short period of time, it made me kind of enigmatic to the press, and they were still interested because I was a novelty. Yeah. At the same time, it sort of froze my opinions. The first half a dozen things I said in public became the only printed record of what I thought.
Right.
And then and then by the time I started doing interviews again, I developed like different ideas, and I had a different ambition, as you say. When did I realize? I mean, you go from selling in a day amount of records that you might have dreamed of selling in total. You know, if somebody says we've sold 2,000 records, I mean, is that all it sold? No, that's just what we've sold today, or 10,000, you know.
Right.
And then, you sold 10,000 people have gone to the shop and bought the record just today, and it gets out of control, you know, and then you have a record and you say have several records going on the charts. And of course, you know, because you're young and impressionable, you sort of get used to it and start to think it's your right. And I think most of the records I made in the first few years were very consistent, but they were quite varied, and they didn't always follow on logically one from the other.
No, not at all.
And they asked people to go along with certain propositions about music and the things I liked, and we made Armed Forces, you know, was less of a rock and roll record, more pop, and then we made a record in Nashville which surprised a lot of people where I didn't even write the songs. But, you know, I suddenly found myself being chased around the fish finger department by what were to me then older women who related to me as a sort of like, not as a pin-up certainly, because I'd never been that in my whole life, but as a romantic singer. And then again I changed again and just went with what I felt. I've gone that whole way, and the last 10 years I've had the opportunity, having accumulated a certain amount of skills, even trained a little bit, you know, even learnt to read music so I could communicate accurately with people who don't just pick up the guitar and play, that I could work in film music or television film music.
Purple Rain, Raspberry Beret, Diamonds and Pearls, Kiss, And when doves cry, blimey, he had a lot, didn't he? But what was his name? Write it down. That's your first clue. You got 3 more clues to come. When you get all 4 clues, then you can have a crack at it and win yourself one of our Night Owl mugs. There you go. Not allowed to leave the studio because people kept lifting them for the first 3 or 4 weeks. Anyway, let's keep going. We have Alan, who is in Cramlington. Let's head there. Hi, Alan.
Oh, 1 minute.
Hello, mate.
Hi, Alan. You all right?
I'm good. Good to talk to you.
I haven't spoken to you for a long, long time. I spoke to you about 20 years ago.
It obviously went so well you came straight back. What can we do for you, mate?
You actually owe me a Mars bar, by the way. But never mind.
Okay.
Right. It's just, since like the beginning of lockdown, since March, say, I know that mental health has been a big problem and a big issue. And, well, to be honest with you, the lockdown's been affecting me in a really bizarre, strange way. I've got a few things I would like to explain to you and like tell you about.
Please.
But it has. It's really affected me in a strange, bizarre way. I mean, even now the dog's looking at us, and I'm looking at the dog, and the dog's just staring at us, and I'll turn my head, and my daughter's hamster is on the table outside, and that's sitting staring at us. And I'm like, what the hell's going on?
It sounds like you're going stir. There's a lot of people going stir crazy just because we've been in the same place an awful long time now, haven't we? More than we ever have usually.
Yeah, but it's just the dog just keeps staring at it, and it's all just been since lockdown,
No, absolutely.
It's just bizarre. It's really, really.
But you've got a dog. Surely you must get out walking a dog and stuff. Do you not?
Oh, I take the dog. Well, yeah, I take the dog out. I mean, the dog's not neglected, like.
Sure. No, I wasn't suggesting that. I was just thinking, how many hours a day are you spending in the same 4 walls? So that's the thing.
I didn't get wrong. I go to work. I'm at work picking 9 hours a day.
Right.
Picking 9 hours a day, but it's just when I get back in, it's just everything just turns bizarre,
Yeah,
I mean, picking kind of works an escape.
Yeah, I absolutely understand what you mean. I just think everything's wonky. Everybody's unsettled. Everybody's a bit unsure about what's lying ahead and stuff. And before all of this, because obviously it never happened before, everybody gets into like a comfortable routine, and you kind of know what's happening. You're free to do what you like, and all of a sudden we've been restrained in a way that we never have. Certainly not in my lifetime.
I know that lockdown probably hasn't affected you the same way, but I'm sure you've spoke to other people and you've heard other people with certain issues.
Sure.
But honestly, it's everything just seems to be playing on my mind at the minute. Just the whole lot of it. It's just bizarre.
Is it stressing you, or is it just making you think a lot?
Oh God, there's picking dogs, Steve Henry's picking looking at his nose, picking Dean Eden. Honestly, picking Dixie, bugger off. Honestly, the dog's just constantly staring at them. I say, I'll turn my head, and my daughter's hamster, who can't be upstairs because it makes too much noise on the wheel.
But do you think the animals are plotting against you?
It's funny you should say that, Alan, because that's exactly what I've been thinking.
Right. So, I mean, have you noticed that the dog's been kind of sort of communicating with a hamster and then looking at you, like, as if they've been talking about you?
To be honest with you, the dog will be staring at me, that will go towards the hamster, that will be having a crack on with the hamster, and then the dog's back staring at us, and then the hamster staring at us. I'm thinking they're conspiring against us.
Yeah, or maybe they both love you so much they're jealous of the other one when you're talking to them. So you talk to the hamster, dog gets jealous. Talk to the hamster, or talk to the dog, hamster gets jealous. Might just be that, you might be popular with them.
You may be right, Alan, but it's a little bizarre. It's like sort of playing on it, playing on the heat. Yeah. I know that might sound daft, but that's just what's been going through me. It's more so since the second or third lockdown. How many lockdowns were on at the minute?
We're coming out of the end of the third one. Hopefully, the last one. That's what we want to see.
We'll see. Well, let's see, because I believe that there's going to be more lockdowns. But the first lockdown, I was furloughed for 3 months, and basically since then, I've been stuck in the house on my own.
Yeah. No, it gets to you. It absolutely gets you. Doesn't matter how mentally stable anybody is, this has been enough to rattle an awful lot of cages.
Tell us about it.
No.
I know all about it. Anyway, Alan, I know that you like your ghost stories.
Oh,
and
yeah.
This is something that's really, really bizarre that actually happened to me.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you this, and then I was going to tell you a joke. I only got told this joke today. But anyway, right. The ghost story. Okay. It's strange. It's bizarre. Right. I was at my cousin's house at Rothbury, and she lives like where you know yourself that Rothbury's quite rural anyway. And beside where she lives, there's a big empty barn house.
Right.
It's an old farmhouse. It's busy. It's derelict.
Right.
Anyway, a couple of years ago, with me and my missus were up there visiting, and we went into this bloody house. And I went in, and we had a few glasses of wine, and we went in, and I went upstairs, was searching with a torch and everything. And anyway, there was like a toilet in there anyway. I needed a wee anyway. I went in, had a wee, and anyway, thinking I needed number 2. Anyway, right, got to the point anyway. Sorry. So anyway, I went down in the toilet. And I tell you what, I must have got such a fright because I shit myself.
Oh, that's not nice. We're going to have to move on from that. But thanks a lot, Al. Can't have your joke because you dropped a sweary. 0191 488 3188. Pooing yourself when you're looking for ghosts, I suppose, is an occupational hazard. But never quite. Sometimes you feel like a bit might have popped out. But more often than not, you can kind of hang on in there. 0191 488 3188. We asked a question to start with. What kind of noises do you hate? Sounds alarming, we're calling this. And we've had from pigeons popping to limbs snapping. And Jordan says, my wife's voice. And I think anybody that's married at all will know there's a certain tone that you should never mess with when it comes to women. 0191 488 3188. Let's go across to Throckley, to Throckers, where we've got Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Alan. You all right?
I'm good, darling.
I'm buzzing to speak to you because I'm a long-time listener when I was a kid.
Brilliant. Bless you. Thanks for coming on then. What you want to talk about?
It's about the mandatory vaccines for carers. I think it's an absolute disgrace. I think it's putting them down of especially what I done for 22 years, Alan, to be fair.
Well, it's just, in America, the care workers automatically got it. I just don't understand why in Britain we've been so tardy with it, because to me it's black and white. If everybody's going to see nurses, especially nurses and doctors, surely they should be protected first.
Right. I get what you're saying. So, are you aware of what Clostridium is? MRSA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So I had to deal with 16-year-old, Alan. It's 16-year-old with the minimum PPE, and it was never mentioned. Now, all of a sudden, COVID is this big thing, Alan. Okay?
Yeah.
I've honestly, Alan, when I think about my dad telling us, you better go and get a job, and I went up and got my first job in a care home at 15-year-old. £1.93 an hour I was on.
Whoa,
right? And it's awful. People don't understand what a care job is.
Oh,
right? It's not just a cup of tea and a little bit of biscuit and talk, and you are seeing the full vulnerability of a person. And I was 15-year-old. I had my 16th birthday in the care home. Lovely carers are family, Alan. Okay, and to demonise carers, you have to listen. You really have to listen. To all of a sudden demonise them, you will take this. It's not your choice. We take them on as family, Alan. Do you understand?
I do, but the kind of job that you do, to have the kind of wages that you do for the job, and some of the rather more unpleasant things, I just don't know how you do it. I truly don't.
Yeah. So all of a sudden we have to take a vaccine that we're not sure about.
Right.
It's not a case that we're anti-vaxxers, and I can't stand that term. All my children are vaccinated to the point I want to be vaccinated, but to be forced upon you, and if you don't, you'll lose your job. To be fair, we're not getting the great. You've just said it yourself, Alan. We're on the greatest of wages.
No, coppers. Coppers.
Exactly. And I've done community care. I've worked in a proper home care setting. I was paying to go work eventually, Alan, because you get connected to these people. I think the North East has to wake up. We don't do it for the money. We do it for the family that we've made.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And to be honest, and this, I'm shooting myself in the foot here, but even I had... And I've always spoke to a lot of people who worked in care homes, and you have this picture, unless you've seen it for yourself, you have this picture. Well, they just go in, give them a cup of tea,
100%,
fluff their pillow, and then they're away home.
Yeah,
and then
you're dealing with end of life care, Alan.
So when
16-year-olds, I watch people die and had to deal with families. It's 16-year-olds, and I'm a better person for that.
No, I'm sure you are, but you're not being rewarded for the kind of care that you're giving other people's relatives.
Alan, we're being demonised that we have to. It's like, well, if you don't want it, there's plenty of other people
that will.
Okay, it takes a certain kind of person to be a carer. It takes a certain kind of person. It's not a cafe job.
No, I couldn't do it.
Do you know what I mean, Alan? And I just think it's demonising carers. Well, we'll get out your job. These people have been for 30, 40 years. They've invested their life. And so I've come away from it, Alan, now, because it's too much privatisation. You know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, no, I do. And the bottom line is, people should be free to do with their own body what they want. They shouldn't be forced out. They shouldn't be forced out of a job because they're making a decision about their own health.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The people are saying, we'll take a no job. The single parents are doing carers' job. I'm a single parent, Alan. I was worried about getting my mum doing night shift. So what if something happened to me with this vaccine? Maybe not. Maybe not. It might be the safest thing in the world. Are we not got the right to question?
And have you not got the right? Have you not got the right to choose? Essentially, and
thank you, Alan. That's it.
As soon as they say to you, well, we're only prepared to hire you in the health service or in a care home, provided you've been provided you've been jabbed. It's just against everything to do with the freedoms in this country that we fought for.
Absolutely. But what you're going to do is you're going to rid the care sector of decent carers, wholehearted carers who invest that time, who take them memories of them people home and they think about them, go, oh God, I hope she's all right, or he's all right when I go back in the morning. I don't think the North East or, in fact, the Great Britain understand what a real carer is. To be off the cuff and say, get yourself away if you don't have this job. It's pathetic and it's coercive behaviour, and I don't like it, Alan. It's really bad, and that was my point.
Yeah, that is a damn good point as well. Thanks for coming on, Lisa. Good luck to you.
Alan. See you soon.
Good luck, respect. I felt like that about carers, probably not because I'd given it enough thought, because you tend not to. You see them as, well, they're doing their jobs, and you view them from the outside, and you see them doing, even if you visit people in homes, you see them doing the day-to-day, and type changing the bed, or here's a cup of tea, and you think, it can't be that bad. But I had to look after my mum when she got to the stage when she couldn't look after herself. And not for a long time, a few weeks, not for very long at all. And cleaning her, washing her, bathing her, dealing with accidents from up above and down below. That's not, no. And I know they did it for you when you were a baba. I get that. It wasn't for me, man. I just couldn't cope with that at all. And then you see people in care homes doing it as if it's nothing, because it has to be done. They take it seriously. And they seem to have a relationship, and did with my mother, that like a good 80 to 90% of my mum's family didn't have for her. They didn't come every week to see her. Some of them didn't even come to the funeral. And they wanted everything, but they didn't want to come to the funeral. Horrific. And yet the people who make our family their family are being treated like this. And you can have your own views whether you're for or against the vaccination. Absolutely. But should you not also have the right as to who should take it and who shouldn't take it. And if you don't take it, should you be ostracised? That's the thing. This country, ever since the whole Brexit thing, and I don't want to go back there again, but ever since the Brexit division, it seems that the country wants to divide everybody all the time. Because if you divide them, you divide and conquer. So you can get whatever you want in. And governments making their own laws, making their own rules up even. It's a fascinating but frightening time. Frightening time. George Orwell would be sitting up there on a cloud with his legs dangling off, watching what's going on, going, told you. Should have read me books. 0191 488 3188. Off to Bellingham. We've got Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all right. Good to hear from you. What can we do for you?
Good to hear from you. Well, I've heard you've been going out running. Been watching the live stream. You're looking very lean. I'm wondering when the calendar's coming along.
Hey, tell you, if I took this shirt off, it starts well. Doesn't it? Doesn't end well. Doesn't end well. Not yet.
No. I think you're being modest.
No, I've lost a few stone from where I was. But blame me, I didn't half need to. But
Good on you.
But I hate it. I still, every day when I'm out there, I'm thinking, I could be doing anything now, but I'm doing doing this.
This is it, because I absolutely hate running myself. I hate running. I can't do it. It's painful.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a couple of years ago, I set myself the challenge because I heard somewhere that apparently less than 1% of the world's population will ever run a marathon.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's true, but I heard it somewhere and I went, well, I want to be in that 1%. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, okay, right, I'll sign up. So I signed up to the Manchester Marathon.
Right.
And I was training and trying my best. And I was living in Heaton and I was working in a bar in the town at the time. And I went on a bit of a health kick and I thought, right, well, I'll start eating fruit and veg, get rid of the junk foods, get rid of the refined sugars and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've got a real sweet tooth. So I was thinking, well, how can I get
around
my sweet stuff, but without, eating wrong? So I went to the grocery store on Chilly Road, and I was looking around to see what was there, and there was a big box of sticky dates. And I thought, well, I'll get myself a big box of dates. That'll do the job. So I went to work on the bar, and I was eating these dates, and I was like, these are delicious. And I ended up eating all night long, polished up this whole massive box of dates, right? Anyway, afterwards, went home, clocked off, and I thought, right, I'll go out for my run, because I used to run at night when it was cooler and the air was fresher, there's less traffic.
Clever, right.
So I used to go running at about 2 in the morning. Anyway, I set off. I used to live on the top of Chilly Road, and I went down Chilly Road, through Biker, down the quayside, along the quayside, and then up through Manners, through Shieldfield, and then along the Old Jesmond by the cemetery.
Yeah.
And it was just when I was coming up the Old Jesmond Cemetery, I suddenly felt a bit of a pain, and I thought, dear me, what's this? And just picking up what you were saying at the start of the night about sounds you never want to hear, I would describe the sound as something like this. And it emanated from around my stomach area.
Right.
And suddenly, I realised it was too late, and I nipped back on myself. And just by the Old Jesmond Cemetery, there's bushes on either side of the gate. I dived into one of the bushes just in time. I whipped my shorts down. And I'm not proud to say, Alan, but it happened. I pebble dashed that cemetery wall. And then I was stuck. There was the dilemma of being out at 2 in the morning. It's piled down the back of my leg. My shorts are covered. A whole box of dates has come back with a vengeance. So then I've got to figure out, well, how am I going to get home?
Dear.
So I stuck my head out the bush, had a look either way, and there was no one there. So I thought, right, I'm just going to have to go for it here. And I bombed it. I flew all the way over Jesmondine Bridge, down, and I lived in a house share at the time, so that was the next worry. I was like, is anyone going to catch me running in, sweating at 2 in the morning, covered in my own...
Covered in poo. Dear.
Anyway, I made it up into the shower, I jumped in with all my kit on.
What did you do with the shorts, though? Did they go in the bin?
I don't think they did, I think I gave them a good hefty rinse and then chucked them in the washer. You have to make sure there was no evidence in the bath, though. Usually people rinse for hairs. I was rinsing for a lot more that night.
Yeah, I can imagine. Dear.
But I wondered if, in all your experience of the paranormal and otherworldly things, I wondered if you were aware of any negative repercussions from defecating on holy ground in such a manner.
Well, you were on the outside, though,
weren't you? Watching me back? Should I get a crucifix?
You were on. You were on the outside, though, weren't you? Or were you on the inside?
It was in the gateway. It's hard to tell. There's bushes by the old Jesmond Cemetery, and
I think it best you splashed it. If at worst you filled it, that's the thing.
That's right.
You see, if I was in your position and you couldn't, and you genuinely couldn't stop yourself, and you obviously couldn't, and I'm not surprised because I've heard that dates and figs and stuff are the diuretics. They're going to let you. They're going to make you go. But the way that I would look at it, if I'd have done that, I would have said, well, that's a blessing. It was a blessing for me, hopefully. In this cemetery, it'll make the daisies grow, make the flowers grow, make the cemetery even nicer, and then I wouldn't think about it too much beyond that. Because if you think about it, the people that are in the ground, they're not people, they're just the husks that they walked around in, and everything else around there is nature, and nature loves a bit of manure, so I wouldn't worry too much.
I hope so. I hope the groundskeeper thought it was a blessing when he went in the next day.
Hopefully it rained before he came to work that day.
He didn't want to get your strimmer on that. No. No way.
But the thing about the sugar thing, and it was interesting that you went down the road of you've got a sweet tooth. That's actually quite hard. And I asked, because I've got a sweet tooth too, more of a savoury one, I have to admit. But every now and then you just need a little bit of sugary thing. But
especially in the evening, I'm hellish. Just before you go to bed, I want a bit of chocolate or something.
That's the slippery slope right there. But I asked one of the nurses at the place that monitor your weight and all that kind of stuff, and she said, well, you just want to eat fruit. Fruit's not. It might be full of sugar, I have no doubt, but it's not sugary to eat. It's not sugary, I don't think.
Not satisfying the same way, is it?
Absolutely not. Yeah, you need something special. It's the treat thing. And I have difficulty getting past the treat thing. Sometime during the day, you think, no, I deserve whatever it is you go for. I think that's it's a very small packet of chocolate drops, but I think I really should. And once you start getting into that, you've already lost, haven't you? That's
it's dangerous. And now they all come in big bags. I remember when I was little, you'd get like a 30-pence bag of buttons, and it was a tiny portion. Now for £1, you can get. You know what I mean? You can get like a kilo of buttons.
Absolutely.
It's dangerous. Well, anyway, it's great listening to you, Alan. I've been listening to you for a very long time, and I thought if I was ever going to ring up and give you an anecdote, that should be the one.
I tell you, we have a habit on this show of accelerating down towards the gutter and poo, and we've spent a lot of our years there, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thanks for coming on, Matt. All the best.
Cheers, mate. Take it easy.
Bye-bye. I kind of knew what was coming because dates do that kind of thing. And, dear, you can't imagine. But, so I suppose now, in fairness, he's talked about it. If you want to talk about the time that give me a call. 0191 488 3188. You're with the big one. Time for another superstar, I think, just because we can. And all the stars come out at night for us. This time, it's somebody that a really genuinely lovely human being. Nickname is Alf. Alison Moyer, you perhaps best know her by. And this is me just having a chat with her.
I have two big irrational fears. One is being underneath a boat in a dry dock.
Right.
And the other one is being in an empty grain silo.
Oh, my goodness. How did you come to work those two out? In a previous life, you've had a right kicking, haven't you?
Do you know, I'll tell you how I figured them out. I stood underneath a dry boat in a dry dock. and I saw a film where someone went into those grain silos and all that grain came down. It used to be red ants. I remember seeing a film when I was a kid that a guy was sleeping in Mexico or something and got covered in red ants. And jumped in the river. Ants scared me for a long time, but I beat those.
Fantastic. Hey, there's the power. Ever seen a ghost that had a strange spooky anything, Alison?
Yes, I did have a spooky moment. I remember with my first husband, we were driving in hills in Spain, and he was driving at a regular speed, and I got a very strong feeling. I said, "You've got to slow down," and he didn't know what sort of. And I shouted at him, "You slow down now!" And as that happened, a motorbike came round the corner, overtook a lorry, crashed, smashed, and because we were going slow, we were able to stop the car about 2 feet before going over his head.
Wow.
Yeah, that was quite a powerful
That's
moment.
like premonition, isn't it?
It was like a real premonition, and had we been going the speed that we are, even though it was normal, we would have killed him.
You'd have killed him. Wow, amazing story. What's been your highlight and low light in the business? Best bit and worst bit?
The best bit is always when you've written a song that you feel immensely proud of. I know that sounds rubbish, but you never get that excited by a hit. That hit moment is thrilling for a second, and then it's gone. It's taken over the next week.
Yeah.
The worst time. Well, you get a few worst times, like when horrible moments when you're singing live. And I had one funny time actually, which I don't know was because it was quite funny. But I was singing in front of Princess Margaret,
right?
And I was very heavily pregnant. And I got told to go on stage, and I'd forgotten my glasses, and walked to the centre stage, and no microphone was there. So the band were playing the intro. By the time I found a microphone, they played the intro 3 times and sped up so fast that I couldn't sing the song. And then when the song finished, they let the curtain down on my head. And we were supposed to do one of these handshake things afterwards. I said, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going. She's going to have to sit there and tell me I was wonderful." And that was just really embarrassing.
Midfield and link the play was key to their success.
That's part of his game that is exceptional, and it was difficult to find space in that first half. So what that meant was that it dragged their central centre-back out most of the time, or the left-sided centre-back out, and it did create a little bit more space for other people.
Scotland came from behind to draw 1-1 away to Israel in their World Cup qualifier last night. Northern Ireland lost 2-1 to the USA in a friendly. From Sky News, I'm Tanya Snuggs.
Thank you, Tanya. Alan Robson with you. It is, of course, Greatest Hits Radio North East. Thank you for being with us. Spread the word of the owl, as always. Messages coming in aplenty. Promised you a second clue. Let's go with it. Our first clue answer is following this question. This superstar had greatest hits with 1999, Little Red Corvette and Purple Rain. That's your first clue. Second clue is this. Graham, somebody junior, had a greatest hit with Ghostbusters. And if you can't work out the name from that, Lady Penelope's chauffeur has the same name. Okay? Graham Jr. had a greatest hit with Ghostbusters. Or Lady Penelope's chauffeur. Same word. Write it down. 2 clues down. 2 more clues to come. See if you can work out what links them all together, but don't ring in till you have all 4 clues. Right, Valerie has been on. I was listening to the person who was a carer. I felt bullied into having the vaccine. I was told I wouldn't get into places, I wouldn't get a job without it. People who've had the vaccine were very nasty and said to me, I hope you don't give COVID to your family, or you might die from COVID. I wish people would let everybody have their own choice. I love your show, Alan. 35-year listener. Thank you very much for that. You know, there's a really old-fashioned phrase that your nana probably used. Live and let live. And people can't do it. And they really should. 0191 488 3188. Right. Let's go to Jordan. He's in Ashy. Hello, Jordan.
Hello, Alan. I'm just finding lockdown hard and that at the minute.
Right. In what particular way?
Just with all the restrictions and that.
Yeah. How has it changed your life from what you would do otherwise? I mean, would you be out a lot?
It's just I suffer autism and I'm in the house 24/7, and it's just just really hard.
The one thing, and I'm certainly no expert in autism, but the one thing that I do know is that you need stimulating, and when you're locked in a room, there's only so much you can do in a house. You know, yes, you can go on a computer and you can watch everything that involves a screen, but it's not doing stuff.
I mean, it's like you try listening to music and that, and it's just not the same without not seeing your friends and that.
Absolutely. And you need, as I say, constant stimulus. You need. Oh, I'm saying such and such tomorrow. Oh, they said this, and you got stuff to talk about. And when it's just you sitting in a room, it's empty, isn't it? It is an empty way to live a life. And you've had a year of it now. How have you managed?
Just got to occupy the mind, just find something to do, like your games and that.
Hard though, isn't it? I mean, it's just you go through all the games you've got, and then if you've got enough money, you'll pick up another odd one just to break the monotony. Then you'll go back to the first one you had and work your way through. You've already listened to pretty much everything you've got. You've watched every television program, and 90% of them are stuff we've all seen before.
Sometimes I just go in my mum's room and like just sit down with a newspaper or something and just speak to her like for a bit.
Yeah, like, just to do something different, and it's not like having a friend. Although I'm sure your mum is your friend, but you have a very different conversation with your friend than you do with your mum or your dad.
Yeah.
And I think you've done well to get out relatively unscathed, because there's a lot of people that have suffered mental health issues an awful lot worse, and that everybody's in the same boat. Even people that have never had or would never admit that they've had mental health problems, we've kind of been locked up, and we haven't done anything wrong, but we've all been locked up in there.
My friend's like quite overweight, and he's struggling in college. Like, he's been messaging me saying like he's literally had to go out of college because of all the bullies and that.
Yeah.
And he can't cope with it.
No.
It's just like too much for him.
Yeah, and you see, usually, if things were normal, there'd be people he could call, there's people that he could talk to, he could say to one of his friends, look, we've got to meet up this week, let's do something. And all of that bursts the bubble of the pressure. You thank heavens for that.
I mean, he's going in the garden and cutting his mum's hedge down, so like he's doing a bit like getting out and that.
No, well, you see,
he sends me videos of it, like on Messenger and that.
It's still not the same as being there with him and having a laugh and clarting on and all the stuff you do when you're with a friend.
How you been coping anyway?
Well, I feel do I feel pressured? Yes. I'm desperate to get out the house any time I can. I'm sick of the same four walls. It's just it drives you mad, because I'm not the world's biggest socializer, funnily, but I do.
I get really shy in that.
Yeah, but it's just, even if you're on your own outside and mixing with people and saying hello to the odd one, that does, even that's just better than being trapped in, well, I've been to the shops this week, so I've got no excuse to go out now. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a nightmare. The way I've got round it is probably by every morning going out and having a long walk or run or a bit of both, and then at least you're seeing trees and birds and other people from a distance and stuff.
It's also when you see all these like on the news and that, when you see all these protests, you're thinking, what are they actually doing? It's mad what they're doing, like protesting and that.
Yeah, I know you say it's mad. I can personally see both sides, because there's one side, people like you and I, kind of moaning about it. And hey, let's face it, other people would say, well, what's the point of moaning? We'll get through it together and be really positive. And that's the way we should be, but we're not, because I'm whinging as much as you are.
The Bristol protests are the worst, though.
Yeah, but the protests are from people like you and I who live in a land where our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents fought to make us free, which means we don't have to stay in the house, which means we should be able to meet in public and protest, and all the things that these guys are doing. Just the government brought in special rules, which means they didn't have to be voted in by the people who represent us.
Does that also go for like the illegal raves too? Like the under illegal raves, like what they have when you see it on the news and that?
Well, what the government have done is, usually if they wanted to bring a law in
they'd have to get all the people in the House of Commons to vote for it. And 9 times out of 10, if it was a silly law, they wouldn't vote it in. And certainly if it was a law against the freedoms of people, they wouldn't vote it in. But the government said, no, during the time of COVID and the lockdown, we're bringing in special powers so people don't have to vote, and we'll just make the decision for everybody. Now, that's dangerous. I understand why they did it, because obviously nobody wants anybody to die or catch COVID.
It's just going to make COVID like spread even more when you see things like that. But like, I know where you're coming from.
It's possible. As I say it from both sides. All I want is everybody to be safe. Full stop.
Can I shout a couple of people out before I go?
Of course you can. Go for it.
Shout out to Lindsay D and Jack Rope and Robbie Johnson.
All right, no worries. Good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on, Jordan. All the best. So there is Jordan, hit hard, like a lot of people with issues. It makes it harder to be locked down, and I absolutely get it. 01914 488 3188. David's just been on telling me the answer to clue number 2. Funnily enough, I know the answer. But you don't have to tell me. Just write them down until you've got all 4, then see if you can work out the proper answer, if you know what I mean. He gave me the answer to clue 2, which was good of him. Because let's face it, I have forgot them before. But let's move on. We've got our Linda from Barrisford. Hello, Linda.
Good morning, Alan.
Morning, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm better enough because my dad passed away on Monday.
Oh, no. I've met him. He was a lovely gentleman.
He was a gentleman.
He was a gentleman, no question about it.
It was hard for my mum and me because
to cope with it.
We were at home, and he passed away going to the toilet, and he was on the floor, and he'd had a heart failure. And
how old was he, Linda?
He was 90, Alan.
90. Now, 90's a decent run, mind,
I know.
In the great scheme of things.
I have expected it this last 2 years or whatever, because he's been in and out of hospital with pneumonia, and then he had 8 weeks ago he had water on his lungs, and then I had my mum here at my house for about 3 weeks, and then my father came out of the care home. He had to be he had to have some respite.
All right.
And then he came home. He came to my house, and he said that he didn't want carers or anything like that. And
blimey, that's putting a weight on you, mind, wasn't it? Blimey.
Oh, Alan, I was exhausted.
Oh, I bet.
Well, last Sunday, I said to my brothers and sisters, I can't take any more. I've come to the end of my tether.
And you say, in a strange, you'll probably feel guilty about saying that.
I did.
In light of what happened, but you shouldn't.
No.
Because, if you know this programme well, and you really do, because you've been with it a long time,
I have.
You'll know that my beliefs are very straightforward. And nature just has a way of sorting things out. And your father was getting to the end of his time. And, hey, we don't choose it. He doesn't choose it.
No.
Nature chooses it, or if you believe in God, God chooses it, if you prefer to name it that way. To me, it's all the same thing.
Yes.
The nature or God decided that was the time, knew you were at the end of your tether, knew he was at the end of his time, and the two things happened together to take the weight from you, to take the burden over, and to take more importantly, to take the pain away from him, to take away all of the problems and to set him free.
On the Monday, what was it? It wasn't Sunday. It was Monday that I'd said to my brothers and sisters that I don't think I could cope anymore or do anything anymore, and it was all mixed reactions and everything, you know. And they didn't realise that I'd worked my socks off for the last couple of months.
Right.
You know, continuously sort of thing.
Yeah.
And nobody come out at that time on that Monday.
No.
When I was calling, I could call for help. If you know what I mean. I didn't say to anybody, "Get your butt down here now." I was just saying, I can't cope anymore.
Right.
And
so what? He died at your house, did he?
No, he died at his own
in
house.
His own house.
He'd just seen the kitchen finished.
Right.
And what was it? He was there 2 weeks.
And were you at the house at the time?
Yeah. And I was in bed, and my mum saw the light on in the bathroom, and she says, "Linda, you better get out of bed. Your father's passed out. You better pick him up." And I thought, oh my God. So I went over to him, and I said, he's cold. He's cold. And Mum says, "Ring 999." And I said, and I rang 999, and they were saying to me, "Is he breathing?" I goes, "No, he's not breathing." Is he cold? Is he freezing? Yes, I said, he's cold. And they said, "Open the door, the medics are there." And I said, "Well, I'm upstairs." "Well, go downstairs." If I open up the door, 4 medics come in. It was that quick they come, you know.
Amazing. Good on them. Good on them. Because let's face it, you know, some of these people have to travel huge distances, and they'd get there in rapid quick time. A lot of them come on motorbikes and
Round
such.
the corner, you know, there was 2 ambulances that had come, and then the police come, and it was about 4 o'clock in the morning before everybody went. Well, I couldn't sleep, and I was talking to one of the policemen, and I said, "I'm going to have to get onto the crisis team." I said, because I don't know how I'm going to cope with everything. Well, I got onto the crisis team, and they prescribed me a tablet that would make me sleep.
Yeah. Knockout drops.
The only thing is, I wouldn't be able to drive the car.
No.
So on the Tuesday, my sister and my brother-in-law came up from Wales, and I says, "I'm not going to take that tablet." I says, "I'm going to buy myself a bottle of sherry."
Yeah, but you see, it's funny because we're laughing about this, and yet this is just how you cope. You're not going to turn into an alcoholic overnight.
No.
You're going to have a little nip before you go to bed, and by the time you wake up in the morning, you can still drive your car and be safe.
That's right, yeah. And they were good to mind. You know, the hospital in Hexham. They said they'd had a good chat with me the next day, and
good. How's your mum?
It hasn't affected her with tears or anything like that.
It'll come.
She says she misses him, you know.
It'll come.
Yeah, I think so.
It'll come.
Yeah.
It'll come.
But do you know what I've done?
What's that?
Alan.
What's that, love?
I've wrote 2 lyrics.
Oh, right.
For my dad. Should I tell you them?
Oh, I'd love to hear them.
There once was a man from the coast who indeed was better than most. Eric fished from the sea, married a wife called Marie. Oh my, they were blessed with a massive family.
That's very nice.
And then the other one was, there was an old man from Petrol Way who grew runner beans in May. He could do no wrong. My, the compost was the compost it ponged. That was the sweet heydays.
Happy days when you were growing up, seeing all this happen, I bet.
Yeah.
That's very nice. It's, you know, there's no words can fill a gap like that. You know, when
people have been so lovely, and that's what I want to say. I've had people around the village here in Barrisford giving me flowers and cards and nice words and everything, you know.
I think what you've got to remember, and it's as much as I can offer you, is just remember that if it's right, you know, the way that I see things, that when when it comes our time, John Lennon said this as well, it's just like getting out of one car and getting into another.
Well, he loved that, Alan, because he couldn't drive his car for about a year.
So he's getting into a new vehicle that doesn't have pneumonia and it doesn't have problems with his waterworks or any of that. He's now on his way to a brand new adventure, and I wish him well with it. But,
thank you, Alan.
But hey, be strong, because your mum's going to need you soon. And
I know.
I know the thing about the pressure and the weight on your shoulders, because I had my mum after my dad passed, and I had exactly the same kind of situation, except my mum wasn't able to look after all of her bodily bits and bobs.
That's right.
It's a weight on your shoulders, but
it's a shock, isn't it?
It is absolutely that. But in this particular case, your mum's in slightly better shape than mine was. She's capable of looking after herself to a degree.
Yeah.
A lot of the weight is now gone because your dad's free.
Yeah.
And you've got to use a little bit of that time to build yourself up, because you've got to need to be strong here,
I have. I've got to be. But I think I need a pat on my back,
I think you deserve one too. Just for thinking, I could either knock myself out and stop myself driving and just sit there and ferment, because you're a thinker. You will think about everything, and it'll get on top of you. Or I can drive my car, do the day as I always would do the day. If ever I feel a little bit down, little squint of sherry and happy days. That's the thing. Get your head down and sleep, and hopefully try and remember just the best about your dad.
That's
the
right.
one thing he would hate is for you to be moaning and weepy and miserable, because he was a stonking fella. He was a lovely man.
Oh, he was fantastic. Everybody loved him.
Yeah, he was a lovely fella. Lovely, proper, decent, and the only word that came to mind was gentleman, and he was.
Yeah. He was a gentleman.
You are very, very lucky to have a father like that.
I know. I'm very fortunate that I've had my parents this long.
Absolutely.
And
it's just, we don't count our blessings. Instead, we just find something to be miserable about, and it should be the other way around.
That's right.
Especially when you're being blessed like that.
Well, once it happened, once my dad had died, then I thought, right, now I'm going to be strong now, and I'm going to look after my mum.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do all the wishes that she wants. And now with this lift, the lockdown, I'll be able to take her down to the beach. And
there you go. Absolutely.
And
just don't let her see you swigging the sherry, okay? Keep that.
She thought it was for her.
Oh well, there you go. That'll make nighttime pass a little bit quicker, I think.
You know what she gets in her cold cove at night time?
What's that?
She gives a swig of whiskey.
Whiskey, there you go. Hey, she knows what's what. Hey, Linda, be strong, my love, and I'm so sorry for your news. So sorry.
And by the way, Alan, my dad was a night owl.
I know he was.
And he loved your show, and he thought the world of you, Alan.
Bless. He was a special fella.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Linda. You take care, Mum.
Yeah. Thank you, Alan.
Okay, bye-bye. Oh, my goodness. How do you cope with all of that? And it's something I've had to go through, and you cannot say it to anybody, because everybody has to deal with it the way that they're going to deal with things, and it's tough. We send our love. Eddie is with us. He is in Burnmore. Let's head in that direction. Hi, Eddie.
Hey, Alan, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. What do you want to talk about tonight?
Well, you'll be sick about talking about COVID and that, but I just wanted to ask your views on it and stuff.
I'm just glad we're seeing a glint. It's like somebody's just moved a curtain, and you can see the world like it used to be, and I want to be in that world as soon as possible. Safely, but as soon as possible, because I'm suffering from the same as everybody else. We're just itching to get back to all the things that we took for granted, going to pictures.
I mean, I think what's going on right now, obviously it's a 50-50, obviously with people's opinions about it, but my opinion about it, it's like, I don't believe in the pandemic,
right.
I don't believe in what's going on. Obviously, you don't hear anything about the flu anymore.
No.
It's like nobody talks about the flu anymore. If you've got a cold, or anything like that, everybody starts panicking and stuff and think we've got COVID. You know, I think
I'm not taking sides on this, sucker, because the poles apart, and you never agree. You know, people who believe it's not real, and the people who are absolutely sure that it's people like you spreading it. No, you get all of that. I'm not.
No, but I mean, I will admit I am a bit like with my conspiracies and stuff like that. But like, I've been learning about things for quite a lot of years, and I had a feeling like something like this was going to happen.
Right, well, you see, I can give you just a little something that will, I suppose, probably keep you going. But it's just, I asked a doctor, because for the, because of the COVID thing, a lot of doctors who'd retired have gone back into helping their practices, you know, just to get through all the injections and all the stuff that's happening. And I saw a doctor who used to be mine a while back, and she said to me, you do realise that probably by the end of next year, they'll have a vaccine that'll cover flu and COVID. So instead of getting a call up for older people or vulnerable people, it's time to get your flu vaccination. It'll be come and get your COVID and flu vaccination. They'll put the two together, and you'll only need the one hit for the year. And you think, blimey, that's how close they are. They can be given as they believe it'll be a single vaccine by the time they get it. To me, you can't change what's gone on, whether it's real or whether it's unreal. It's so both sides are in the same position. You cannot change the way that the law's been and all the restrictions and all of that. You got no option but to shrug your shoulders and go along with it. So
there's nothing you can do about it.
No, let's just get through it together without bitching, because nobody wants to be here.
I'm worried about taking a vaccine.
Why?
Because of obviously all the stories I've heard about it. People that's been getting blood clots and stuff like that. You know, and
well, I asked a question about that to a different doctor 2 weeks ago. I said, "What's the thing about blood clots?" And the doctor, and you could argue, well, they're all in on it if that's your view. But the doctor said, the thing with blood clots, they're judging it. If they judged it like how many people out of the large numbers would get a blood clot even if they didn't have the injection, is actually more than the number of blood clots that have been given to people who have had the injection. Now, she's not, the guy doctor wasn't saying you can't get a blood clot, because you can get a blood clot any time. And one member of my family had a very nasty blood clot and had to go to hospital and get all the stuff that, warfarin and what have you, to thin the blood. And there was nothing to do with an injection there. So you can have them at any time. But I was told by that doctor, and I got no reason to doubt them, they're saying that it only seems a big number because of the massive number around the world that have had COVID. So you think, well, how many people that have had the injection, and we're talking 1 million a day in America, how many people have had blood clots? 5. 5 people? Well, it sounds an awful lot, but not when you're injecting 1 million people. And what they're saying is that if 5 people get blood clots, if you looked at the population in general and said, pick any 1,000 people, you'd probably get more than 5 blood clots. So I think we've just got to be a little bit sensible and just do what we need to do to be safe and to get us out of this. Just let's break free.
But what about people that don't want to have the injection? Well, what about people that, like, just say, for instance, like, I mean, I'm not fussed about leaving, like, my country. I'm happy to go on holiday in this country.
Right, okay.
Like, but they're saying, like, if you don't have a COVID passport because you haven't had an injection,
can't get abroad. They're even saying some pubs and restaurants you might need them for as well.
Isn't that sort of your freedom being taken away from you?
Yeah, absolutely. No argument with that.
People, like, fought in this country. Like, when I was a kid, World War I, World War II, obviously I wasn't born then, but like, I've learned about it. Stuff. People died in this, like, for our country.
Yeah, now, but you see, the freedom thing, I get the freedom thing, that's what I was saying, but there's, again, the massive two sides. There's those that say, they're taking away our freedom. Yes, they did, and they did for the reason, they tell us, to protect us, to try and keep us safe, And as soon as everybody's safe or safer, then hopefully everything can be returned and it'll be business as normal. With respect to people being forced, that's a huge question. And I absolutely had sympathy with the carer that was on before, because people should have a right to decide. Now, you could argue if the vast majority of the population are injected, they can still spread it. But they can only spread it to people who haven't been injected. So therefore, you are putting yourself at risk. If that's the case, you're putting yourself at risk. But on the freedom side of things, you should be free enough to make the decision. And if you do say, look, I'm healthy, I'm not sure I even believe a lot of this, I'm going to do this, you should be allowed to do it without people bullying you or slamming down on you. But
what gets me about it is that the fact they say the survival rate of COVID is 99.7%.
Yeah.
The survival rate in this injection only is 60% effective. So, and it might, and like, even if you've taken that injection, they're saying that you could still get COVID. So what are you meant to believe?
Well, you see, I've heard different.
Does it make sense to me?
I've heard different figures quoted. I've heard the 60% early dose, and then it depends which vaccine, because there's loads and there's more coming. And the American one is a tablet. It's not even an injection. There's a tablet thing coming. They're working on it. So things are going to change big style. One of the tablets claims to be 77%. And the bottom line, if you just want to look at this as an outsider looking in, you can be 77% less likely to suffer. Why wouldn't you take those odds? It's 77. It's almost 80%.
I do get that. But honestly, if you look at the statistics of all of this, and like you've got things like cancer that's been around for a lot of years, they still haven't got a cure for that.
Yeah.
And I just think you just can't believe anything anymore.
But you see, I've heard a lot of the conspiracy things. I understand them. Some of them I might even agree with, but it doesn't change where we are. And where we are is, if you want to go into a pub, if you want to go, and this is ever, if you want to go into a pub, as far as we can see forward, if you want to go to a restaurant, if you want to go in a cinema, if you want to go to a football match, if you want to go to watch the cricket or the rugby or the ice hockey, if you want to do any of these things in future, there's a chance, and it's a fairly strong chance, that you're going to have to show that little card that they give you that says on the top line, I got my first injection then, and on the second line, I got my second injection then. And if you haven't got one of them, you're going to find yourself in a position where you do feel kind of outside the rest of society because you have chosen to put yourself there. Now, that's still not a reason, to twist your arm if you're determined that I want to do for my body what I want to do for my body. I absolutely get that, and that should be your right, and nobody should have a right to tell you what you should or you shouldn't do with your body. They can advise you, but they shouldn't force you. Forcing's a different thing. Forcing people to get medical treatment they don't want is something, you talk about World War II, this is something that Nazis would do, and we certainly shouldn't even think about that here. Yeah. But we should encourage people, stay on the safe side, get what you need to live your life and be happy, and then let everybody be happy, but without bitching at each other. That's where it goes all kind of pear-shaped.
Personally, I think the protests, what people's doing and stuff, I think that's wrong. Obviously, people
depends again who you talk to, isn't it? It's two sides. It's just
they're fighting for a war that they don't know what they're fighting for. Obviously, they're fighting for freedom.
Yeah.
I get that, but
do you think the people that are? But do you think the people that have brought in all the restrictions don't want freedom, or do you think they want to go to the pictures, the football, and the same as everybody else?
Of course, that they do, but that's the job they've got to do because it's the government. That's the job they get paid to do.
Yeah, I hear you.
I hear you, Eddie.
Obviously, it's people are blaming like Boris Johnson, saying it's all his fault and stuff like that. The restrictions, it's not his fault. He's getting paid to do a job.
Yeah, but
I
bet he would have loved it. I bet he would have loved to have been Prime Minister at a time when there wasn't COVID rather than a time when there was. Eddie, I hear you. Stay safe. Whatever you do, I hope you make the right decision for you, man. Okay?
Thank you very much for speaking to us.
You're welcome, Eddie. No worries at all. I see it again. It's a hard... I feel like I'm on one of those balancing beams whenever anybody talks about this, because you're always going to pay off one side or the other. And the bottom line is, do I care what you decide? I would like you to be as safe as possible. Full stop. Whatever that takes, be safe. Don't take any chances. Let your family be well. Let you be well. That's it. And let's get our freedom back as quickly as we can. Would be lovely. 0191 488 3188. Now, I have to put something right. I did say that Dave had been on telling me the answer to the second clue. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because I used the wrong Christian name. There is a singer that I love called Graham Parker. He had a band called Graham and the Rumour. I've just given the game away now for the second clue. But anyway, let's press on. The clue 2 should be this. Ray something Jr. had a greatest hit with Ghostbusters. Or it's the name of Lady Penelope's chauffeur. So I said Graham something Jr. I was thinking of the other singer. Hey, Lord, don't ask me questions, guy. So Ray something Jr. had a greatest hit with Ghostbusters or Lady Penelope's chauffeur. So, Dave, thank you very much for putting me right. Really appreciate it. Thank heaven somebody does. Right, let's crack on. We have Sue, who is in Weshey. I've just read Sue's email about the COVID jab. Hi, Sue.
Hi, Alan.
Hello. So you've been jucked.
Yeah, that was the second one.
Yeah, so you're ahead of everybody here with these, aren't you?
Yeah, it was a surprise. I got a text Friday morning inviting us in, so I picked the time.
Right.
I was like, yes, get in. And I said to my husband, the only thing I can think of is in cancellations. Right. And there were people there that would wait, because you have to wait for 15 minutes. There were a lot of cancellations. And because it's the Pfizer jab, the Pfizer one, it's got to be stored at really low temperatures.
Right.
And if that doesn't get used, it's just thrown away and wasted.
Right. So I gather your husband asked if he could have his second one, but he had a different vaccine, so they wouldn't juck him.
Yeah, they wouldn't. They can't mix them. Right. But if he'd had the Pfizer one like me, they would have done him at the same time.
Right.
I mean. But
well, you should just consider yourself very lucky that it's all done for you, isn't it?
I do. Yeah, completely. I'm like, I'll be able to hug the grandchildren, you know, but it feels like the weight's been lifted off my shoulder. But I can't understand why people would book an appointment and then just cancel.
Not sure. No, I don't get that. I mean, at very first, I heard some people were saying, well, yes, you can have an injection, but it's not at your surgery. It's 30 mile north. And they go, well, can I get 30 mile? How am I supposed to get? So then they cancel the appointment. And then 3 weeks later, they get another phone call from the surgery saying, you could come into the surgery and do it. Well, 2,000 people have made the 30-mile journey there and the 30-mile journey back. So I can understand some people cancelling just from a distance point of view. Not everybody's got a car. Not everybody wants to travel on a bus, you know, a number of miles away. So I get it. But no, congratulations to you, though. So you're done and dusted, and hopefully you won't have to worry about it for at least 12 months. So.
No, I hope not.
Yeah.
But I must say, Alan, you do make me laugh. I listened, I watched when I called you the other week, and oh my God, you had your head in your hands, hiding behind your mic, just laughing and laughing. I mean, but I didn't eat dates. I just
no. Now, you don't want to open the back door too early. That's the thing with dates. You've got to be a bit careful. Anything else when you're on, Sue?
Yeah. You was on about punishment for like children and stuff.
Yes.
Never did me any harm. But I mean, I think my dad like halved his belt and made a crack to frighten us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My dad used to do that as well. You know what happens if you step out of lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Mum, her punishment was wait till your father gets home, and then
absolutely.
But we knew when we were pushing the wrong buttons because we just had to look at my dad, and he had a white crease on his forehead. He'd just give you that look, and his crease would like go white. But I mean, children nowadays they just seem to have no respect, for anything. I mean, the other day, me and my husband were out, and I was on my little scooter, and we go past like a comprehensive school, and the kids were coming out, and there was one just went deliberately over the field, on the field, pulled these daffodils up, and just started bashing them about. I said, I mean, I don't care now. I mean, I just say what I think, and people say, oh, please be careful, and I just said, look, I said, you don't appreciate nature, do you? I said, wait till you get my age, and then you'll appreciate it. But honestly, and then the other week we was coming down a hill, and I was in my scooter as well, and I put it on high speed, put it on hair speed, down this hill, and there was these gang of kids, and you could see that one of them was just not going to move, and I just stared him out, He must have been about 14, 15. He was with his other friends, and I thought, can't go either side because they were spread all over the path.
Yeah.
I thought, I'll go in the middle. And I kept looking and looking. He was staring me out. And and then one of his friends said, move to the side. And he just continued staring.
You need one of those things that old trains had called a cow catcher on the front. Just scoop them up. Drive off with them. That's what you needed.
But you could see it in him. Like you were saying earlier. You
can tell, absolutely. They've just got that look. You know it's a wrong-un. You know he's always going to be a wrong-un. And it's just honestly, sad to write them off, but it does feel that way.
I could see it in him, and I thought, you're going to be a little horror.
You little bee, absolutely.
I mean, I brought my daughter up. I mean, I say the kids that are like that, I don't say they're brought up. I say they're slung up,
I think that's fair.
I always taught my daughter, even though she's 23, right? And she gets, even if it's got nothing in a birthday card, she'll get on the phone and say thank you,
That's nice. You've done a decent job then, haven't you?
I've always taught her, you must do that, and she always does.
That's
good. Some kids are just slung up and...
It's very sad, and if parents do bring them up or drag them up like that, they're just creating a miserable life for themselves because all the life of that child they're going to be, dealing with a crisis after crisis and a trauma after trauma. So I must take a quick break, but thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Alan.
Lovely to hear from you again. There's Sue. She's been jucked for the second time. How about that? She's ahead of the trend. Right there. Anyway, quick break, and then immediately afterwards, we're talking to Janet, who's in Newcastle.
The voice of the North.
Alan Robson's Night Owls. The phone-in that gets you talking.
Greatest Hits Radio.
You are with the big one, Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Thanks for being with us. And we want your calls about absolutely anything and everything. David says, I don't know if this means anything to you. You could just call it coincidence. I don't know if it has any meaning. My mum died last year, and she died on a Thursday. So I decided to see what day she was born. She was born on a Thursday, and it was a leap year when she died, and it was a leap year when she was born. Do you ever hear of things like this where people being born and dying on special years, like leap years, or the same day of the week? Is there any connection? Well, obviously, there's a connection because your mum did. Is it a coincidence? I would say there's probably many a coincidence, but have you got a similar thing where everything kind of lines up? He's asking you guys, so might as well try and get an answer. Meanwhile, we have Janet, who is in Newcastle. Hello, Janet. Hello, Janet. Hello, Janet in Newcastle. Nothing there. We have Anita, who is in Spennymoor then. Let's go there instead. Hello, Anita. I am not getting... let me try that again.
Hello.
Oh, there you go. Hello. It's Anita. Hello, Anita.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, love.
Right. I've just been trawling through, by listening to the show, trawling through the web, and I've come across a new conspiracy theory.
Oh, go on then. We've heard most of them, so let's have this one.
Right. The vaccines that they're giving out now, you get extremely tired with.
Right.
This is supposed to be to subdue the population, ready for more laws coming in to take away our freedom.
Oh, right.
And I must admit, looking at Facebook, everybody's tired. So it's starting to catch up.
Yeah, but does anybody think, first of all, the people that have worked all their way through it and can't have a holiday...
Exactly. They're knackered.
They're gonna be absolutely beat. They're gonna be completely wrecked. And then I don't know about you, but I can only speak as someone who is almost unemployed. I've got a day a week. So you sit around, you do a little bit of work around the house. You sit like a pudding watching any old crap that's on the television, and you get tired at 8 o'clock, and some people even just go to bed early because there's nothing else to do. So you wake up and you're ruined. I wouldn't put too much down to, they're trying to we're walking around like zombies, because we're not really.
No, we're not. We're not walking around. That's the problem.
But the people that are running and jogging and walking the dog and even just getting the hell out the house, they're as bright as a button, some of these people, because I'm often very close to getting run over by their bikes. But so there's a good few that are shining examples of being wide awake. But I felt more... Do you know, I used to work 16 hours a day for 6 days a week for most of my working life, and I never felt wrecked. I've been doing very little comparatively, and I'm really more tired now than I've ever been. And it should be
the less that you do, the more tired you are.
I believe that absolutely.
Also, talking about the vaccine travel.
Yeah.
I'm in Spennymoor. They give me Carlisle.
Well, that's just to go and get your jucking. You got to go to Carlisle
to go and get my vaccine. I had to go to Carlisle.
That's just stupid, isn't it?
Yeah. The next day, I got my letter from my GP to say, come and have it done.
In the surgery.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot of this. I've heard a lot of people, and the lucky ones have been the ones that have said, I've got to go where? How do you get there? And they say, well, just drive up. I haven't got a car.
Well, I haven't got a car, so I couldn't get there.
So you would have had to get a bus up, because you wouldn't get a taxi, that'd be bad.
I'd get a bus to Newcastle, and then a train from Newcastle to Carlisle.
Then a bus from the station to wherever it is in Carlisle you got to go.
Yes, and it would have took a full day to get there and back.
Oh, no question about that. Not a question of that. Oh, blimey, and you see, the other thing that I don't understand is, all over the north, if you travel to different places to go shopping, you see a sign that says, COVID testing left, and you see that empty car park, because they're nearly always empty, and you think, well, why don't they just inject people into COVID testing sites that nobody's used? That to me because that's in your town. But no, go to Carlisle. And then they're saying, don't travel unless it's extremely necessary. Come on. How far's that from Spenny? Jeepers.
I haven't got a clue, but it's the other side of the bloody country.
Absolutely. It's the West Coast. That's all you need to know. And you might have a lovely day in Carlisle, but none of the shops are open. So then you've just got to get on the train, come all the way back. And how long were you in there getting jucked? Probably 30 seconds?
I was in 10 minutes.
10 minutes tops.
Absolutely. I had a reaction to it.
Oh, blimey. What kind of reaction?
I'm allergic to penicillin, and I'm allergic to other things, and I had a slight allergic reaction, but it was only a slight one.
Right,
It was a bit of tingling, a bit of swelling, but I was fine after 10 minutes.
Do you know, on a Saturday night I get a bit of tingling and swelling. But I try and get through it the best I can, you know.
You do, don't you?
I could never heard of Carlisle before. I've heard of Alnwick, and I've heard somebody else say, "Oh, you got to go to Middlesbrough," and you kind of think, "No, I'm not sure."
There's I think Keswick was another one.
They might as well say Manchester. You know, you go to Manchester to get yours this week. That's just madness.
So, but it's lovely talking to you again, Alan.
Always. Anita, thank you very much for calling. Take it easy.
Thank you, my darling.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot. Carlisle? Imagine that conversation. Anyway, we're going to take another quick break. Get some news out the way. Your third clue's coming too.
Also resume. Chief Executive of Sport England, Tim Hollingsworth, says it's an important moment for the country.
The fact that one of the first things to return after a national lockdown is sport and activity is a really positive sign as well for just the role that it can play in people's lives, and particularly the role it can play in helping our health and well-being.
More than 30 million people have now received their first dose of a vaccine in the UK. Government figures suggest 57% of all adults have had their initial COVID jab, while 6% have had both. A 19-year-old girl's in a critical condition after a car being chased by police crashed into a lamppost in South London. The Metropolitan Police says officers pursued a vehicle after it failed to stop near Streatham Common early yesterday morning. A study says 1 in 8 adults in the UK have had to use credit to pay for essential goods and utility bills. The Money Advice Trust found that while a quarter of those surveyed were actually better off after a year of the pandemic, over a third were worse off. In sport, Scotland came from behind to draw 1-1 away to Israel in their World Cup qualifier last night. It means they've drawn both of their opening games in Group F. Manager Steve Clarke feels they could have taken all 3 points.
They'll be disappointed, I think. We didn't start the game well. As always, this group of players showed good character. I thought we were really good second half. With a little bit of luck, we could have come away with everything. But another point on the road that we want to go.
England kept up their perfect start to World Cup qualifying with a 2-0 victory over Albania. Northern Ireland lost 2-1 to the USA in a friendly. From Sky News, I'm Tanya Snuggs.
Thanks, Tanya. Alan Robson's Night Owls, of course. And do not forget Thursday nights if you're into ghosty hab-nabs. There will be more of that this week, and I hope you'll join us. OK, let's get cracking. Third clue, we promised. Let's share them with you. The first clue was, this artist had greatest hits with 1999, Little Red Corvette and Purple Rain. Second clue, Ray something Jr. had a greatest hit with Ghostbusters. And if you can't work that out, Lady Penelope's Chauffeur. Third clue, the county that has places like Canterbury, Dover and Folkestone. What county has Canterbury, Dover and Folkestone? They're all in the same county. Which county is it? 3 clues down, 1 more clue to come, and you'll get that in the next 20 minutes or so. So get ready for that. We have DJ John from Waka. Hello, DJ John.
Hi, Alan. It's good to talk to you again, Alan.
Great to talk to you too. I bet you've got a joke or two as well.
I've got a few here, Alan, to make everybody smile tonight.
Champion. I'd love that. Go for it.
Yeah. What rock star reads the book in the toilet?
What is that? Lou Reed?
Lou Reed.
It is. Hey.
What did the road say to the volcano?
What did the road say to the volcano? I don't know.
You crack me up.
Very good.
What's Johnny Depp's favourite ovenware?
What's Johnny Depp's favourite ovenware? I don't know.
Pyrex of the Caribbean.
Pyrex of the Caribbean. It's brilliant. That's brilliant, DJ John. Yeah. Nice one.
Who's in charge of the budget for spiders?
Who's in charge of the budget for spiders? I don't know.
The Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Chancellor of the Exchequer. Fabulous. Fabulous.
I really sketched my bank statement, but the bank manager said I've overdrawn.
Oh, goodbye.
I came third in the Happy Days Olympics. I won the Fonz medal.
The Fonz medal. Good.
Someone replaced my aftershave with bubble bath last night. I was foreman.
Good on you.
Has anyone seen the athlete? She's done a runner.
Oh.
Alan, what's the favorite? What dog can do tricks?
What dog can do tricks? I don't know.
A Labrador.
Labrador. Yeah, tell you, you're on form tonight, John.
Yeah. How do dogs pay for their dog food?
How do dogs pay for their dog food? I don't know.
By Barclay card. I spent 60 minutes up the tower eating jelly and custard. It was the trifle tower.
Oh. Yeah.
Alan, have you got a couple for me?
No, I haven't. I got none, not as good as those. I can't compete with that. Definitely not.
Alan, I've got a couple more if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it, of course.
Yeah. I asked the Stranglers of the pop group when they were eating a box of Celebrations.
Right.
Apparently there were no more heroes.
No more heroes. There you go. Any more?
Yeah. The atmosphere was so tense in the old-fashioned sweet shop, you could hear a pear drop.
You can hear a pear drop. Excellent.
But Alan, I'll let somebody else know, but thank you for taking me call, okay?
No problem. I'll tell you, I'll give you one. 2 lumps of road, walk into a pub.
Yeah.
The first bit of road goes to the bar and asks for a drink, and the barman says, I'm not serving your friend. And the bit of road says, why? And the barman says, because he's a psychopath.
Alan, can I tell you one more before I go, please?
Of course you can. Go for it.
There was 2 pieces of concrete, one in the bar.
Uh-huh.
And they were having a pint, and the barman says, which one's the hardest between you two? So they're not each other. I think I'm the hardest, the 2 pieces of black tarmac.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this red piece of tarmac come in.
Right.
He
Uh-huh.
says, look at this piece of red tarmac. He says, I think he's going to be the hardest. He says, he's a psychopath.
There you go. Down the netty. Well done, John. In fairness, at least he told it right. Anyway, let's crack on. 0191 488 3188. Janet is with us, and she is in Newcastle. Trying to get Janet before. Let's try today and see what happens, because we have crossed into a new day. Hello, Janet.
Hello, Alan. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello, welcome to you.
Alan, what it is, I phoned you like a couple of weeks ago about getting a priest, but I can't get through to the church, right?
Why?
Well, I don't know, they're not answering, but this thing's been happening in my flat, right? I'm really scared. I'm on my own, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't sleep in my bedroom.
Right.
I sleep on the settee now.
Right.
And what's been happening, I mean, it's getting us really depressed. Like, I can hear footsteps coming down my stairs, right? Like loads of people.
Yeah.
Like, I woke up and thought, God, who's in my flat? And I've got to search around, right? And then the scariest thing, what's happened to me, is last week, it scared me, and I don't want to live here anymore, but, like, I can't, like, I've got nobody, right, Alan? The scariest thing was I was lying on the settee, and in the back of me, a man, I went to the toilet about 5 o'clock, and the man said, loud as anything, well, hello.
Right.
And Alan, I froze. I just froze. I thought, who's behind me? Yeah, that's what I heard, Alan.
So it's behind you in the toilet?
No, I was lying on my settee.
Right.
On my settee, I went to the toilet at 5 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
And then behind me, behind my settee, as though I just was awake, and he went, well, hello, like that in a foreign voice. I just froze. Right. Alan, I don't know what to do. I'm really scared and I need to move. I don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, as I say, the thing, if I were in your position and felt as frightened as you were...
Well, I am, Alan. I'm in my flat now and I'm still scared. Well, I go to bed, I've got earphones in, I've got all the lights on, and that's like I've moved through the same thing. I phoned you years ago. I've actually moved from other places happening to this, but I've never ever heard a voice saying that. It scared me, Alan.
Well, if that's the case, you know, we recommended that you went to a church and got the place blessed. Most churches still have access. Some churches are open, and others are available if you could give them a ring. Alternatively, ring your local spiritualist church.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing tomorrow. I've got a number. Alan, the thing is, I'm so depressed. I can't sleep. I'm sleeping with earplugs in, like with music on. Wow. And I heard that voice. I went to the toilet, come back and I lay down, looked on my phone and I heard, well, hello, but in a foreign voice. I couldn't believe what I heard. I'm petrified. I'm here now. I've been crying all the time.
Which language was it?
Like it went, well, hello. And I thought, I don't want to look back.
No, but you said it was in a foreign voice. What kind of voice was it?
Like it went, well, hello.
Which is English.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't sound English. But I thought, God, I'm scared to look back. Right. I was scared to look back. And then I went and searched my flat. I'm really scared. I don't know what to do.
Well, you're doing the right thing. You're going to talk to the spiritualists. Hopefully they can, now because we can meet 6 different people, hopefully the spiritualists will be able to say, well, we'll come round and see what it is, see who it is, see if we can move them on for you, because they're a good lot, the spiritualists. They're Christians, but they're a solid lot of people, and they will come round.
But
and
Alan, can I just say something? I've been in other places, and like all the rest of them, I had to move through the same thing. And the priest said to me, near a place that's spot on you. But I've never heard a voice like that, and it's really freaked me out. Right. Well, hopefully the spiritualists will sort you out tomorrow then. But good luck to you, Janet. I hope it works out. Blimey, how about that? And we wish her well. 0191 488 3188. And I suppose, you know, we could be critical here. I don't think we should be critical. No judgmental. I just think that, well, hello. No, hey, be serious. Well, hello. You can't get more foreign than they're living in the dead place. Do you know what I mean? You can say, well, they were calling from Sweden, or he was obviously spent some time in Germany, or you can say what you like. You don't get more foreign than they're dead and they're talking to you. So that's the way to justify it. 0191 488 3188. Anne's been on. She says, Alan, I can see the COVID centre from my window, and I was asked to go to Sunderland, and they said, OK, no problem, and they changed it to the walking centre right here. And also this ship stuck in the canal. I can't believe that was an accident. Come on, how can wind blow a ship that size when loads of tugs can't move her? I think there's a cunning plan afoot here, something to do with money, no doubt. Love listening as usual. Now, we did talk about blockages before, and I know one guy sorted out his blockage with dates, but we haven't heard many blockage stories. Have you blocked something? You know, a drive and a neighbour's come out furious, or a toilet blockage. Oh, toilet blockages are always embarrassing. Tell me your story anyway. Let's crack on. We have Matthew, who is in Newcastle upon the Tyne. Hi, Matthew.
Hello, Alan. You all right, mate?
I'm very good. Thank you very much.
How have you been?
I'm all right.
I'm fine. I haven't been out yet, but I'm out with my mum tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm saying, Alan, the weather hasn't been very nice, has it, by the way, this week, by the way, Alan?
Little dribbles of snow here and there, but we hope that's the last we see of it.
Yeah, hopefully the snow is going to be gone, you know what I mean, by the way, Alan?
I hope so. But you see, it's still, I know it feels like
this COVID thing's lasted about 10 years now, but we are only in March.
Yeah,
so
the lockdown gets lifted tomorrow, by the way, Alan.
Well, a little bit,
Yeah.
a glimpse, yeah.
Yep. Do you think Boris Johnson's doing a good job, Alan, or not?
I don't trust politicians in general,
Neither do I.
so I'll let him get away with it for now. Right.
Yeah, I don't trust Donald Trump, and he's gone to prison. I'm saying it's been a really good week. I've been watching Love Island Australia,
Right.
and it was good. When are you going to get your nights back to 7 days a week again?
Oh, I think we're going to have to take them if we're going to get them at all. So you never know. We're working on it.
3 more things I'm saying, Alan. Do you think it should be right if somebody hacks a game on a Call of Duty, should they not be banned for it, by the way, Alan?
They should go to a firing squad in the game, and they should be shot in the game, and they should never be allowed back on the game again.
Yeah, but do you not think if trolls come on, Alan, trolls come on the game and that, should they not be banned in that and stop for coming on it? Because I thought to myself, people shouldn't be allowed on it if they're going to troll good people, you know what I mean, by the way?
No, absolutely. No, of course. Trolls
I'm
are
saying,
horrible.
Alan, I've been enjoying the live stream. It's quite funny. I was dancing to the music like the Wally.
Hey, good.
I'll do the shout out because I know I'm going to ruin it.
All right, no worries.
Shout out to Mary and Jimmy, shout out to you, shout out to Deborah and John, everybody who knows me, Andy. And,
That's lovely.
3 more things I'm saying, Alan.
Go on then.
Did you watch the Caroline Flack documentary? I watched it and I was very upset.
No, I didn't see it.
It's on Channel 4.
Right.
Channel 4, it is. I'm saying, Alan, do you think the PS5 could have more stock, by the way? More stock of PS5, by the
Oh,
way?
yeah. They're going to make sure everybody's got one. Don't you worry.
It's quite a shame. It's Chris not well, Alan. Chris not well.
Chris is a bit poorly at the present moment. That's why we've got
When's he
Nicola.
back?
Hopefully soon.
Because we get on well, don't we, me and him?
Yeah, you do, actually.
I'm saying, Alan, I'm saying the new David Gray album was pretty good. Nicola's doing a good job, Alan. I've known Nicola for a lot of years, haven't I? On Metro Radio, by the way.
You're practically related, Matthew. Practically
I'm
related.
saying, Alan, do you think in a storyline, if somebody gets knocked unconscious in Emmerdale, should there be a rule to let them do that? By the way, you know what I mean? By the way.
Well, Emmerdale's a soap, so they're supposed to be copying what happens in real life, and people get knocked unconscious in real life. So
I'm saying, Alan, I saw Emmerdale Coronation Street the other day, and they're doing the storyline where the woman gets involved with a bad man. Leanne gets involved with a bad man. I thought to myself, you better be careful, you know what I mean? And there's a man called Harvey in it. I'm saying, Alan, my other point, do you think if we don't take the vaccine, is Boris Johnson going to lock us down again if we don't do what he says?
I don't think that he'll necessarily lock people down because some folk haven't had the vaccine, but I just hope that the numbers don't go up.
My granddad, my grandma's had it, my dad had it, Alan, but I haven't had it yet.
Right.
My dad says I'm a bit too young for it, but, I'm not too young for it, but,
they're just hang on a second. They're just making sure that the people who are more at risk get it, and then eventually work their way down to you. Make no doubts about it.
I'm saying, Alan, do you think it should be right that you've got to pay for a back-compatible game on a 360 to play on Xbox One? Do you not think it should be free? The people who make Xbox are saying that the game should be free, but you know what I mean? They made all the Call of Duties back-compatible, but sadly the PS4, the PlayStation people say, oh, that's not fair.
I'm going to be honest with you, Matthew. I really don't care. But with respect to you, I think everything should be free for you.
It's a shame Night Owls. I'm glad Night Owls is free. You don't have to pay.
There you go. Ooh.
I'm saying, Alan, what are you doing tomorrow? Are you going anywhere tomorrow, by the way?
No.
Are you not going down the beach? You can meet people in Sixth saying now.
No, I'll be going out running and hating it like I do every morning. That's what I'll be doing.
I'm saying, I listen to your Ghost Hunt every Thursday because I ask Google to set a reminder for us when it comes on at 10 o'clock. And but it's what I do.
Good idea.
I'm saying, Alan, do you think SoundCloud will ever return? Because I miss it. It's broke me off.
Yeah, it would be nice if it did. But I'm going to move on, Matthew. Give other people a chance. Thank you for calling.
Can you put it on the YouTube for me?
We will, absolutely. Thank you very much. This Matthew from Newcastle. With his stuff, absolutely. Glenn's just been on and says blockages. He blocked his neighbour's 3 cars from getting out because his family had a bit of a disaster. He's a plumber by trade, and his mum had a problem with burst pipes in the kitchen. So he raced round,
parked quickly outside, but couldn't park outside her house because her car was there, parked outside the drive of the other neighbour because there was no other spaces, and all 3 cars wanted out, didn't know whose van it was, didn't know it was the son of the woman next door, so they were all waiting for him on the path when he came out 2 hours later. Bet there was hell on. Oh, 91 488 3188. Let's go and talk to Frank, who's in Cramlington. Hiya, Frank. Hello, Frank.
Yeah.
Hello, mate. What can we do for you?
I've got an electric recliner chair.
Right.
It's handmade.
Right.
And I want £150 for it. It's a £2.5 chair.
Right. Okay. Well, if anybody rings in and are interested in it, we know where it is. Thank you, Frank. Thanks for telling us. So, anybody interested in that? If so, get in touch and we'll sort that out for you. And Anne from West Denton is next too. Hi, Anne.
Hello. You know when I told you about the scam?
Yes.
Nasty people, I forgot to tell you. Told me a little short thing. They wanted £360 off us.
Oh,
but no, I never give in. Never give in with them letters. Never give in.
Good.
No, they weren't going to get it. I didn't get the cheque. I says, I'll tell this on you if you don't behave yourself to the other the same company.
Right.
And this is about this. You wouldn't believe this or not be long, Alan. It's about the gas. My emergency company. I don't mention names.
Okay. Right.
So what maybe in lockdown and it was freezing weather, the daughter come down.
Yeah.
Just as well. I says, pop around, because I like my cards, don't like big bills. She popped around with my gas card, right? I says, put £30 in, right? She come back. I was really mad. She put it on my meter, my gas meter. They took all my money off us, right? That £30, so we had to go back, spend another £40.
Oh, blimey.
I thought, well, that went on. It's to cover your meter. I was trying to get my emergency on, but they took it off us as well. So I got straight. I waited now on this company. I went on. They were nice like the staff. I said, excuse me. I says, what? And I already had took my gas off, you know, Alan.
Really?
Took my gas off. I had no gas down here. Wasn't
Right.
it nice people on the phone? I says, what about these other people who can't go out in the cold, and especially children that have got nobody.
Right, that's true.
They couldn't get out. Isolation.
Yeah, you're right.
I made a point for it, and I says, it's disgusting this cutting people's gas off. I was done now, I really talking to this scanny.
No bet.
I says, disgusting. What about if I hadn't had money on my card? What would happen there? People would be freezed to death. They would have nobody to get in, but it must have been any time. Could be any time at night, you know, Alan.
That's true.
Putting the gas off. And I said, oh, I'll have some McKinley. She doesn't put it in the cooker. I says, oh, I can't get the gas on. No, but listen to this. I said, hang on, because I'm used to my house. I'll go open the boiler. You just put you don't touch the big thing in the middle.
Right.
You just put it on the right-hand side. You hold this thing at the top, and press it on, and red light goes on the gas in the cooker. But a lot of people like me, not sensible, can look the stairs, Alan, and I knew what to do because I'm used to this house.
Yeah.
And other people couldn't go right up the stairs, and anybody didn't know what I knew. Even my daughter said, you didn't have that, but I do.
You seem to be coping well under the circumstances. Did you get it all sorted out then?
Oh, they're going to make a report about it, Alan. We're going to make sure it mightn't happen again. Before I go, because I know you've got your thing down, I haven't got my glasses, Alan.
You haven't got your glasses?
No, because I can't see my post now.
Oh, blimey.
I'm keeping cheerful.
Well, that's something. But how do you see? How do you read things?
I can't. I'm not any sympathy because I can see I can see my phone with the numbers on.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my eyes done, but it's been a year and a half, Alan.
That's just shocking. That is absolutely shocking.
I don't do my poems now. I was sick of doing them anyway.
No, but it was a lovely hobby of yours. You did some good ones over the years. Do you still do your cards and everything? You still do the paperwork?
Oh, aye, but I sometimes put the greetings upside down. I'm not very good at writing now. You know, I want to do good writing.
I know.
Wait. I can much to tell you, Alan.
Well, let's just hope it's soon, though, for your eyes, though. You cannot leave it that. I mean, a year and a half's ridiculous.
But you see, there's that many people waiting for operation, people with cancer, and millions of people.
It's scary. Scary times. But
that's
hey,
all right, nice.
Lovely talking to you, and thank you for coming on.
Right, good night then.
Good night, bye-bye. 01914 488 3188. If you want to give us a ring, you will get pretty much straight through now if you give us a bell. 01914 488 3188. However, it is now time for, I promised you, the stars come out at night. We've already heard from people like Elvis Costello, Bankman Turner Overdrive, Alison Moyer. Let's talk to Mark King from Level 42.
When you're a little kid growing up on the Isle of Wight, sounds idyllic. First of all, just to be where you are, because you're not far away from all of the big deals in England in any case.
No,
you're
that's
just
right.
a ferry across.
That's all.
But you're separated, so you've got all of that kind of peaceful.
There's definitely an island mentality, Alan. You know, you have this thing of. For me as a musician, it wasn't a bad thing because you could aspire to be the best on the island. You know, it wasn't too much of a leap of faith. You know, so I always wanted to be because I was drumming as a nipper, and I always wanted to be the best drummer on the Isle of Wight, and that was my sort of goal to reach. And there is this island mentality, like I said, that people are. And it seems to me that there's change there. Nobody wants any change there, you know. Very small gene pool, of course. So
right. So you're all related?
Well, I think we are. And that's probably why I'm quite a good banjo player. You know? It's shades of deliverance of it.
Okay, so were you a good kid? Were you a bad kid? What kind of kid were you?
No, I think I was quite a good kid, actually. You know, my father was a prison officer, and so I grew up living on the prison estates, which was it was a good place to grow up because there was such a healthy turnaround of staff in the prisons that would be coming down from Scotland and from Newcastle and from Manchester and Liverpool and Ireland and all of these, you know, so there was a really good sort of eclectic mix of mates that I'd be out playing football with and you know, having a kick about on the rec and stuff. And it was a great place to you know, to grow up in respect of that. My mum was you know, well, pretty much a housewife really because she had 3 kids. I've got 2 elder sisters.
Were you rich, poor? Where did you stand?
No, you know, I mean, well, my dad being a prison officer, I suppose that, you know, in terms of the rest of our family, they all thought that we were quite well to do, but you know, the reality was we weren't at all. You know, but you're talking about a time. I was born in 1958, and that whole post-war thing, particularly on a little outskirt like the Isle of Wight, where it is a little bit further behind. You know, things like, you know, my dad got the first car in the family, you know, so like my grandparents and used to do that, and we had the first TV in the family. So I think that the rest of the family probably thought, wow, these go ahead.
Very swish.
But you know, but we weren't at all. You know, my dad just sort of worked really hard in the prisons and hated the job. You know, for 30 odd years he worked there, and like I said, he really hated it, but he did it because he had 3 kids, and you got to feed him.